2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Good evening, Panther fans. It's Tuesday night. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast. My name's Tony Dunn, and I'm here with my co-host, Cody Lashney, chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Tonight's show, Matt Rhule interviews OCs aplenty and a plenty of things I'm sure my man Cody has got to say about it. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. Listen, it's a Tuesday night. It doesn't matter what time of the season. I'm always here on a Tuesday night to wrap up my boys and talk about some Panther football, man. Listen, you guys are also the therapy for us, okay? We're down in the dumps, too, about how bad this Panthers fan or how bad this Panthers team is, but we know that we can come here every Tuesday night and hang out with the best Panther fans and all the internet and make us feel okay. You already know them and love them. We got our man Drew, Antoine Henderson, Brad Holt, Cody C13, Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel, Matt Knows Nothing, Off Grid, Tim Estes, Trill 1, Underground West, Zach Rhodes, Zach Simmons 13, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Let's roll, folks. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. This is the show that Panther fans get in the car. We go to the game together. We talk about all the prospects on the way to the game. In this case now, on the way to the Senior Bowl or on the way to the Combine. And when we talk about all that, and then we get back in the car after that, and we bitch and moan about Matt Rhule. That's where we're at. Good God, is that everybody knows that. This is the show by fans for fans, because without fans, football is just a kid's game. We want you to get up in the conversation. Thank you for the people in the chat. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, and hang out with my man CK. Welcome back, CK. How you doing?
Oh, just out here, just having a realization about how unfortunate we are to have Matt Rhule as the head coach. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, Matt Rhule. Matt Rhule.
I've just seen too many teams do it with the first year head coaches already this year, from the Eagles to even if you want to think about the Raiders, it's tough, man. And let me ask you, if you looked back 5 years ago and we were to tell you that the worst team in the Carolinas was going to be the Panthers as opposed to any other team, college or like basketball or hockey or anything, the worst team in the Carolinas is the Carolina Panthers. And that is sad.
It's almost like including college. Like even ECU made a bowl game this year.
Right. That's what I mean. Like you look
Carolina,
at these guys. Mm-hmm.
They always suck. UNC, Chapel Hill, they suck. They're always underperforming. But still, like, I mean, that might be the story. It's a weird thing to say. You would not have said that. I was thinking about this. I was talking with somebody about the Matt Rhule versus the we were talking about it last night, Cody. I think that's what it was. Cody, where we are on Chris Jenkins, Charlotte Vibe show, and we had the big kind of end of season discussion, the super chat of YouTubers. And I was talking about, remember when we watched that All or Nothing, you saw Ron Rivera give that badass speech where he's like, they punched you in the mouth. Speech. Yeah, they punched you in the mouth. Well, F them. Punch them back. Man up. And I was watching that show. I was like, yeah. And then now, to be fair, the Panthers did get smoked in that game. Right. It was I think they ended up winning. The Pittsburgh Steelers beat them, breaks off the Panthers, but Cam Newton's shoulder got hurt. And then that was the moment a lot of people mark as the downfall of where actually now we're at, like on the downslope from that moment in some ways, because we were 5-0 or something like that. And the Cam Newton injury occurred. God, it seems like a year ago. But the reason I bring up that speech is because no one sees Matt Rhule's speech at halftime like that. Imagine Matt Rhule gave his speech in that game, how bad they would have gotten beat.
Have we ever heard him give it a super impassioned speech to his team? I think the closest that we've ever heard was when he was at the Senior Bowl saying, hey, we're not guys who want to be coached. If you don't want to come here and be coached, if you don't want to come here and be coached, then go somewhere else, man. We're trying to help you guys get better. Dude, he's laughable, man. It's laughable. And I think one of the things that hurts the most is that you see all these other headlines attached to other teams, interviewing guys to be their new head coach. And we know that we should be amongst those teams that are looking for their future head coach. That's not what we're doing, man. Instead, we're playing the dating game over offensive coordinators, man. And there's been a list of names that have come out in recent days and even time before about who the Panthers have started to interview for offensive coordinator. And we finally have some names to talk about and discuss the pluses and minuses of it all.
They want to know if we've had the halftime speech before. And let me see if I can get this. Like, it's so worth having it. Matt Rhule, Senior Bowl. Here it is. Tell me if you can hear this.
You say something to them and they're like, they want to argue. They go, saying yes, sir.
This is Matt Rhule.
Yes, sir, does not mean you're coachable, right? Like some guys, you say something to them and they're like, they want to argue. They go, yes, sir. That's not coachable, and I do not want to coach that guy. Like if you're not out here and every play you don't want to be coached,
you're bullshit.
Like, if every play you're not trying to get better. Okay, saying yes, sir, does not mean you're coachable. Look at someone in the eye, having like football conversations with means you're coachable. If every play you're perfect, then we don't need to be at this game.
Football conversation.
You should be coached on every play. I hope you respect the fact that the coaching staff is trying to coach you on every play. A lot of coaching staffs might have come out here and been like, man, let's just evaluate these players. We're trying to coach you. So get all that out of your system. I know your college coach was nice to you or something. Like, I don't care. Like let's freaking work at each other. The harder you get coached, the more we have to then coach.
It is the worst.
The more we coach, the more we have to then coach.
Listen to this.
He says
he goes
nothing.
Out there. He goes, some coaching staffs come out there and they don't want to coach you. They just want to be evaluation staffs. That's all he says. Like, listen, it is the worst. Now in retrospect, why
A lot of coaching staffs might have come out here and been like, man, let's just evaluate these players. We're trying to coach you. So get all that out of your system. I know your college coach was nice to you or something. Like, I don't care.
I don't care if you guys
let's freaking work at each other. The harder you get coached, the more we have to then coach.
The harder
you get coached,
907.
the
harder I gotta coach.
Let's try to take this up a notch. Okay, some of you guys are tired.
The harder you get coached, the harder I gotta coach. It's awful, bro. I mean, it's laughable. And I hate to be like this because I'm not a cancel culture kind of guy. Like, it's like, oh, you misspoke. Fire this mug. You said one thing I didn't like. Fire him. But think of this. Think of the complete body of work this year. Has there ever been a bigger disaster of appeal, of your image than what has happened to Matt Rhule? 1 year ago, Matt Rhule did not look like a fool. And now it's like this. It's like I can't look anywhere and find anything good.
Nope. It's incredibly different. The world we live in is compared to where we were 1 year ago. 1 year ago, not a single one of us was saying, we were joking that Joe Brady wasn't going to get a head coaching job, right? We were having that debate. But we were also we were thinking he was still an offensive coordinator. We weren't of that mind he was going to be gone. The one person we had the biggest gripe with was Teddy Bridgewater. We had faith. I think we had real optimism in what Matt Rhule was going to be and bring to this team when this season started. And the just incredible just change of fortunes for that gentleman is unreal when you think about it. He was beloved in Charlotte last offseason. Even though he let go of Cam Newton, we can argue that all day.
Right,
but he was still the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, a guy that we really believed was going to take us to that next level, or at least hoped. And the change in where we're at now is just it. I don't know that I've seen a bigger change than this.
Yeah, I mean, not only a bigger change, but I've said this before. When I was calling for Ron Rivera to be fired, I got a lot of pushback because a lot of people still really liked Ron Rivera and thought that he could be our coach going forward.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna push back tonight.
None of the people that were defending Ron Rivera staying are now defending Matt Rhule staying. I don't see those types of people. And one of the things that I've determined is Matt Rhule is a master of saying a whole bunch of shit without actually saying anything at all, man. Yeah. He doesn't say anything. The more you get coached, the harder we have to coach. Dude, you're not saying anything.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, and I've also said this before
nothing.
too.
It's words.
To me, it's coded language for we want you to come here, put your head down, shut up, do what we say. I don't want the big personalities. I don't want people that are going to come in here and want to do their own thing. I want yes men that are going to come in here and do every fucking thing that we tell them to do. 100%. Which, by the way, I think is part of the reason why he brings in all these Temple and Baylor players, because they're already sort of beholden to him because they wouldn't have a job on any other football team.
I think that's an excellent point. And one of the things that when you see that coded language of put your head down, do what I say type thing, what I also heard, and I think that's a wonderful point. What I heard though was I'm the most important dude.
Yeah.
It's we're here and you're lucky I'm here. You're lucky I'm here telling you when I coach you hard, you're going to get coached harder. You're lucky. That's the process. And it was very, and I'm trying to find something to like about this dude. That's what I'm trying to do. Is everybody, I know everybody, the internet is trashing Rhule. And you know what? I don't blame him at all. But I'm trying to find something I like. And even in this speech right here, it's I'm the dude. It's about me.
It's about him. It's about
there's a problem right there with that. Here is, look, this is Ron Rivera at that. I hope this is it.
Don't lose your mind. Don't let him get inside your head. You've got just as much skill and ability as anybody on that damn field. You don't let that fucker push you around. You're too good. But you got to keep your mind in the game and stay focused, all right? Don't let him get to you. You are too good a football player to worry about shit like that, all right? You go out and do your job. And the rest of you motherfuckers, the same thing. The only thing they've gotten on us has been what? 2 fucking long passes. You have to challenge these fucking guys. You can't sit there and accept it. This is their fucking history. This is who the fuck they are. They expect you guys to fucking roll over. You can't. You got to defy them and challenge their asses. You got to fucking hit the goddamn center in the fucking mouth. That's how you beat these goddamn teams. These fucking teams come out because they think they got big balls. And they challenge your ass. Well, fuck them. Challenge them back. Find out what they're really made of.
Best shit ever. So I'm telling you this. I tell you this is nobody. You know what? I'll go to battle with that guy. See, that's the one thing. You look around these candidates that are getting shot for jobs right now, and every time I see a defensive named coach, I think of this is like the team you're going to be. Ron Rivera, man. Look, we didn't give him enough credit. And I know, Cody, you didn't want you, and that's fine. That was time to move on from Ron Rivera. I like this. You said this once, is just because moving on from Ron Rivera was the right decision doesn't mean that Matt Rhule was the wrong decision.
Right. Oh, well,
and I respect that. And I'm just saying this is there's something to a Ron Rivera team right there with that mug. I'll take him in a back alley fight any day. Listen to that speech he gave versus the Matt Fool one. Did he make one thing about Ron Rivera in that speech?
No, not one thing.
He talked. Dante Jackson was getting smoked in that first half, and what did he do? He kind of good dad, mean dad chastised him into shutting down Antonio Brown in the next half.
Yeah,
and that's what my man told me last night on Homeboy's show. Not Rashad, Dave. Dave said, man, and he came out and shut that dude down in the second half. Them guys played for Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I was probably the last person on the panel that wanted Matt or Ron Rivera gone. Right. And that was, listen, I even had reservations when we let him go. I think after that Redskins game, I think they were still the Redskins at that point. We were all in agreement. After in that post game, we were like, Matt Rhule or Ron Rivera doesn't survive this. He just doesn't. There's no shot. And it does when you look back, man, you see a completely different coach, a different. You see a leader in what Ron Rivera was, and what Matt Rhule is literally just somebody who I feel like he does. Like you said, this is the thing that I think is most important. He wants people he can coach, which means he doesn't want people that have a bigger personality. You're 100% right when you say that, Cody. And that clip, I think it really illuminates that in my eyes. Even just now listening to it, I think it opened my eyes even further to the fact that Matt Rhule does not want to coach NFL players. He wants to coach college players. That's what he wants. He wants people that are going to listen to him and say, all right, coach, tell me what I can do better. You're in a different league right now. These guys aren't going to come to you. They have too much pride to come to you and say, what am I doing wrong? I think some of them are probably going to have that mindset. But if these guys are playing well, then I think it's okay. This is the thing I hate with fucking management. In any industry is there's always things you can get better at. Well, why don't you just pat me on the fucking back once? That's what I want. Pat me on the back. Don't look for an opportunity in everything that I do just because you have to have something to coach me on. I hated that when I worked at Wells Fargo. I hate it now. I do my job very well. And I hate when organizations do that, when they think that there's always something that you can be improving on. And that may be true, but it doesn't mean every time you have a conversation with somebody, it has to be a coaching opportunity. And that's what I think Matt Rhule is taking. It could very well be nosediving this organization with that mindset.
Yeah. I starred a comment by Q Gibson 6 because I think it lends to a point I want to make here too. is that when you look at all the coaches in the playoffs right now, with the exception of Bruce Arians, all these other coaches are playbook coaches with schemes to beat you. Fuck the pep talks and speeches. And I concur. I 100% agree with you, Q. But what I would maintain is that Matt Rhule is not that kind of person either. Matt Rhule is not the kind of person who looks at a football field like a big game of chess with 11 players on both teams. I mean, he's the kind of person who is now having to go and find an offensive coordinator to essentially run his offense.
True, though. That's not a true.
He never calls play, but he doesn't know how to call plays, and that's why he doesn't call plays. That's not his
in
job.
The playoffs, bro. Buffalo's in the playoffs. They ain't scheming you. Green Bay's in the
Sean
playoffs.
McDermott isn't scheming you.
Sean McDermott's a defensive coach. You don't defensive scheme. No, first of all, when you say that comment, you mean offense. That's what you mean. That was not meant like, oh, and yeah, no. Sean McDermott isn't scheming. You ain't doing nothing different than anybody else is. He's not like going crazy. He's not like some revolutionizing defense. He's been calling the same fucking defense for the last decade.
Well, there's a reason why his
Buffalo's not out. No, it's not
best.
a true comment. It's partially true. It's true from what you want to see, but Green Bay ain't really overdoing. They just got Aaron Rodgers, who just goes out there and just balls. It's not like some crazy scheme. Tennessee, what the fuck is Tennessee doing? They ain't out scheming you. No, it's not true. It's just partially true. Look, at the end of the day, is Kyle Shanahan somehow can run on anybody at any time with anything. He don't have to have a quarterback. He don't got to do nothing. Kyle Shanahan's going to put 250 yards rushing on you with nobody, with us. I'm telling you. Sean McVay, okay. He's kind of cool with this and that, but they just beat the brakes off they just killed Kyler Murray. It's not like they just were like, it's don't like this act like it was just like some XO, we outbeat them crazy. So
but
tell me, where is the rest of this scheme at?
From who?
Where's it at?
All those coaches that you mentioned, they demonstrate an extreme knowledge of what they do, man. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McDermott, Andy Reid, all of the coaches in the playoffs right now have demonstrated a high aptitude for situational football. It's something that they understand that Matt Rhule doesn't. And to be honest, Tony, that's what sets the top tier coaches ahead of everyone else. The guys that know how to put their team in good positions to win football. And yes, that even goes from scheming up offense and defense. And they have it in abundance.
I don't disagree that good coaching is an asset. I'm just saying it's not like that it requires entirely someone who is the smartest brain in the world to win at football. Like, you have to have people that are very good at their jobs.
It just doesn't hurt either.
It just hasn't got to be ridiculously innovative to truly win.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
The problem is that what can keep you from winning is incompetency, which is what we have.
Yep. Hey, real quick, 369 love bomb from Zach Simmons 13 says Rhule is meant to be a college coach. Keep pounding. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, man. I mean, look, Matt Rhule has revealed himself to us. We all know that he is not a good football coach. We don't expect that he's going to be anytime soon. And then when you look at some of the names that I'm sure we're going to get into here soon that he has requested to interview, it doesn't give you any inclination that he's learned anything during the course of this offseason.
Right.
I mean, he's spinning the wheels here, in my opinion.
Especially with the reports that we may be in the running for a Kirk Cousins trade. I mean, like,
oh, dude, how terrible would that be, man?
Bro, if we...
Nah, I think he's a free agent. I don't think...
no, he's
no, you're right. They're going to have to cut him. You're right. They are going to have to cut him. No, look, is that if we trade... you can't do the same... If this... Wouldn't that be special? How about that? Let's put it that way. Is that you trade for a Gardner Minshew, you trade for... which is like a discount Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean? Like, Kirk Cousins is just the expensive version of a regular quarterback. Right, because he can be kind of like a gunslinging dude, but he's like he is like a Jared Goff who throws the ball. But my
He's
point
a
is,
basic bitch. He's a
yeah,
basic.
no, it's not.
bitch.
It's just an average quarterback at best. But like so is Gardner Minshew, but just kind of the cheap version of him. Right.
But here's
so
the
if
thing:
you trade for Gardner Minshew, if you trade for Kirk Cousins, if you trade for a man, trying to think of another quarterback in that range right now.
Jimmy Garoppolo,
yes.
Fuck
if you trade
that.
for all those guys are just a lateral type move.
Yeah, it does nothing
with
except
a
for set us
different
back.
name.
but
It
why
sets us
doesn't it
back.
feel like the organization knows that?
I
We
don't know.
know that. We all understand that, but it would appear to me that our front office and coaching staff, they're just willing to continue to do these lateral moves at quarterback. They seem content with these basic ass quarterbacks
Yep.
that aren't mobile, are very dependent upon a good offensive line in front of them, wide receivers that can separate on the exterior, and a good rushing attack. When you take those things away, yeah, any quarterback would fail, but those quarterbacks would die in those scenarios. Like I maintain, Matthew Stafford is in the playoffs this year, but Matthew Stafford would be nowhere near a playoff caliber quarterback if he was here in Carolina.
What would be the record if we had Matthew Stafford this past year?
It
Think
would
about
might
that.
be the same. It might be the same. We might be 5-12.
We might have won one
it might
other
be
game,
7, and it might be 7-10, but that's about the best you're gonna get.
Right.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't be 10. I don't believe that.
No. No.
So the other thing, but here's the thing. This is kind of what I'm hoping to get at. Is that why you are assuming that they're okay with the basic, like this lateral, like that's kind of where it has to go, right? Soiled or soured on Darnold. So now we've got to do something. And this is the only thing we can do is Minshew, Garoppolo, Cousins, which are just actually, I don't even see them as different options than what we already have. They're just different.
Except for what you would end up doing is you'd have to give up an arm and a leg for one of them, and you'd have to pay them their salary, which they're already, guaranteed, and you still have to pay Sam Darnold. All you would be doing, like, if there is any,
is wasting money. Money.
Oh yeah, if we go out, like, I wouldn't be upset if we drafted a quarterback like in the second or third. Like, I wouldn't be horribly upset if we did that. With the mindset of like, listen, we are not going to be putting him out there. We're going to let him develop or something. Like, I'm fine with that idea, but I am not okay with the idea of drafting a quarterback or signing a new quarterback that's a high level like guy that could come in here and is supposed to save the franchise or whatever it may be.
Well, you're going to be disappointed, bro, because we're drafting a quarterback in round 1.
Bro, if we draft a quarterback in round 1,
I just wanted to make this one thing. It took me a long time. It was a slow burn, bro. If we do all that and we trade for one of these guys, that's a lateral move. Isn't that just another example of Matt Rhule not learning?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not just
can't
Matt
believe
Rhule.
That's going to happen. Like, I cannot give him one more chance. He can't do that. If he does that, then he might need to be tested for a learning disability.
Well, but the fact that David Tepper would be okay with it.
That's what I'm saying. The person I would say would need to be tested would be David Tepper. Like, because by now, if you haven't said, listen, don't make any moves without talking to me first. If that hasn't come to the equation yet, then everything that happens is on David Tepper at this point. Like, because Matt Rhule has proven that he cannot make decisions that are in the best interest of this organization yet.
David Tepper needs to take the football making decisions outside of Rhule's hands on everything that doesn't directly involve the football field. If you are going to make us suffer through Matt Rhule for another season, you need to give more power to your general manager, the guy that you brought in to manage your football team. And by the way, like, I'm interested in knowing this. How are we picking the guys that we're choosing to interview? Like, when you hear Jay Gruden and Ben McAdoo, like, why are we choosing them? How are we choosing them? Because another thing I'll tell you is that every year when there are coaches that need to be hired and fired, a lot of teams hire consulting companies, like firms that their literal job is to find candidates to bring to the owners for them to make decisions on who they're going to hire. Like, is Matt Rhule like trying to go find the people that he philosophically aligns with and then wants to interview them? Who are bringing the names to him? That's what I want to know, because I have no doubt in my mind that Matt Rhule is just, picking the names that he finds to be the most of name value and then just trying to interview.
Well, if you in Scott Fitterer's Monday postseason press conference, this was the first one before the radio interviews, he was asked, Cody, about how they were going to go about picking an offensive coordinator. And he said that that's Matt Rhule's decision to hire his staff. If he would like insight into who that is and how to go about it, then he'd be happy to help them. Right. So that kind of adds a little bit to the rift narrative to a certain degree. So it's not like we're doing this together. We're accountable for these decisions. It's like Matt Rhule's doing this. If he wants my help, he can have it. I hope he doesn't ask for it, because he's going to die on this. He's going to hang himself, just giving him enough rope to hang himself. But Cody, do you really, isn't it kind of ridiculous to say you need a consulting firm to pick your offensive coordinator?
That's what I'm saying.
I would say this is that, like, if you can't pick your offensive coordinator and you're the head coach of the NFL, like, what's the difference between him and us?
Yeah, but it's the same thing when owners of football teams get these consulting companies to give them names for head coaches, because that they're all paid to give certain names, right? It's a you scratch my back, I scratch your back world. And the minute you hire these guys, they have names that they're just automatically going to give to you. If you don't know the kind of offensive coordinator that you're wanting for your football team, then yeah, that signals that we have terrible problems. But knowing everything we do about Matt Rhule and how incompetent both himself and this front office have been, I wouldn't put it past him if he was using a firm.
The irony of this is that we always say that there's a recycling of names. It's like a nepotism that comes with picking positions, right? So we always criticize that. It's like, you just pick somebody you used to work with. You just, we actually do this to Matt Rhule, hardcore when it comes to Temple and Baylor connections.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, when the person is inexperienced, which is kind of like Matt Rhule, they don't even have enough relationships to, like, kind of know guys that they can call upon. And this is what was kind of cool with Ron Rivera, is that, like, Mike Shula brought us to Mike Shula had three playoff appearances. Like, I know people didn't like Mike Shula, but he was on that 2013. I think he was calling plays in 2013 when we made the playoffs, when we went 12-4 or whatever, when we backed into the playoffs in 2014. And he was a play caller in 2015. That's a legit that went to a Super Bowl. That's a legitimate resume as an offensive coordinator. If you said I've been to the NFL playoffs 3 times and been to a Super Bowl once as an offensive coordinator, that is like a legitimate resume. Right? If you think about that, before you all don't poo-poo. Mike Shula got it done. That's better than Joe Brady's resume. So shut F up on that.
He also had a way better football team.
No, don't give me these butts and this and that. You put it on the resume. You put it on the resume. Dude. Here's the thing. The other person ain't got no effing resume. But here, you won't let me even think about my point right here. Is that the problem is we talk about nepotism and just helping everybody we know and just hiring the same people. on one hand, and on the other hand, we get the inexperienced coaching tree. Well, you know what? Matt Rhule doesn't have enough personal relationships to call on and bail him out. He don't have enough Phil Snows. You know what Ron Rivera did after he decided? He said, "This is Mike Shula. I ain't getting it done. I got to do something. It's time for me to think about me."
Yep.
Guess who he goes and calls? Norv Turner. You know what I'm saying? Boom. How about that? Like, he got this. Like, he got somebody he can reach into his pocket that you guys might not think is great, but Norv came up in there and did the thing for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it changed Cam's playing style. It, gave Cam the highest completion percentage he's ever had in his career.
Rhule doesn't have enough experience in the NFL to reach into that bag right there.
I mean, let's be honest too, though. Like, and you think about what he did at that, like the coaching speech. Like, he threw all the other fucking coaches that have ever done it under the bus anyway. Like, listen,
Right.
all these other coaches wouldn't come in here and do this. Like, I'm better than all of these fuckers, right? And on top of that, I'm making more money out of college than anybody's ever made, you know, coming out of college with no resume in the NFL to warrant that type of a paycheck, right? There has been none of that. And so, like, dude, it's like, I think anytime we get a new head coach, and I think we were all like excited about what possibly could happen with Matt Rhule. But looking back on it, any excitement, like I was sitting there, I always had this look at, you know, Greg when he would have his feelings about Matt Rhule, and I'd be like rolling my eyes. I'm like, come on, you got to give the dude a chance. Like, and in hindsight, I'm like, fucking dude, obviously hindsight's always 20/20, but how fucking like naive was I? Like, when you look back, like what
Greg saw through him, man.
Yeah.
He was like this. Greg, we all had the beer goggles on, and Greg was like, nope, that's a basic, like Cody likes to say, basic. And I want to do this is I know, Cody, you like to be hot taking this and that, but don't you talk junk about Norv Turner. And don't you talk about
I didn't talk about Norv Turner. I talked shit about Mike Shula because everyone likes to do this.
Dude, my man did a lot.
Bullshit.
My man did a lot. He called that offense in 2015. You want to say he had the best team? Bullshit. He had Philly Brown and Brenton Burson and Cam.
He also had prime Cam Newton, who was super.
He had one prime dude. Think about this. Think about how many. Think about how innovative it was.
7 yards.
No, don't, like, y'all ain't giving Mike Shula enough credit. Think about how innovative it was the way he used Cam that year. You're talking about a guy who comes from a football lineage. He didn't have to be some 12-year-old that just came in here and learned how to play football on Madden. Mike Shula used Cam Newton well in 2015. And so don't act like this is like, oh, anybody can do it. You know what? About 9 out of 10 people would have fucking screwed it up.
I mean, my thing is this,
Not
man.
giving them credit, man. I don't like this.
It's this thing, though. It's like now because the Panthers are in such a bad place, like now we do this thing where we look back into our past and it's
we
like
made the Super Bowl,
but it's like we're dreaming about our ex that we also forgot treated us like shit the entire time too. I also know that Mike Shula left Mike Remmers on an island in front of Von Miller for Super Bowl 50 and ruined our Super Bowl experience. I know that too. But again, like, I'm not saying it's the worst.
Who was he supposed to bring over? The other guy? Where
we wanted him fired for like 2 years before he actually ended up getting fired.
That's fine.
All of Panther
fandom
can't
act like he was a fucking bum, dude. I'm telling you this. You know what I think? All right, let's talk about these offensive coordinator positions or these candidates. No. Oh, Lynn, thank you. Love you. I was about to give him. It's like I'm telling y'all, he didn't give enough credit for what he did. Using Cam Newton in a way no one had ever done it before. And let me tell you this is if I was dipping into the well, if my man had some real connections, you know who I'd be calling up? I know a lot of people say, what's our boy Kevin says, you got to call up Caldwell, which is a great
Jim Caldwell.
Yeah. But, you know, he ain't answering the phone because he wants to be a head coach. He ain't going to answer the phone. He's be like this. I don't want to be assistant for your bum-ass team. I think you got to reach
That's-
into the basket and go get Rod Jasinski. What's he doing? What the fuck's he doing? Bring him out, man.
But it's like we're also like what 7 years too late. Like the time to have him.
That dude
The
was
time to have him was in 2012. I mean, we should have never let that guy.
He went and got a head coaching job.
But I'm saying we should have never let that guy leave, man. I mean, and by the way, you want to talk about
how do you not
Shula.
let him leave? He went to go be a head coach. You can't say this.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if you look at what he was able to do during Cam Newton's rookie season, did a lot of things using 2 tight ends. I mean, he used Cam Newton well, but I think that Cam Newton could have been an even better passer if we put him in an offense that really promoted him pushing the football downfield with weapons that could do it. Then you added on the threat of him being the best running quarterback that you've ever seen. I don't know. I just felt like we had a missed opportunity to have Cam Newton be looked at like what Josh Allen or Justin Herbert is being looked at as right now.
Yeah, I mean, if they had Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, Cam Newton would have done it awesome. But he had Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess, 2 guys that are in the league. Oh, wait, he had Brenton Burson, Jericho Cotchery, and Philly Brown. So, like, let's be a little easy and forgiving. We forgive Cam Newton for all of this mess and this and that. We'll be forgiven about Mike Shula for having – Mike Shula took a team that had Corey Brown, Devin Funchess, Greg Olsen. It was Greg Olsen, Cam Newton, Jonathan Stewart in the twilight of his career. But think about this: is Mike Rimmers at right tackle, Michael Orr on the comeback player of the year type season. Like, it was not like that Panthers offense was loaded, bro. They were not even close to being loaded. They had Cam Newton, which was a superstar, and Greg Olsen, and that's it.
Our offense has never been loaded.
I just feel like we were too hard. How about that? You know, you say that it was like this is that you remember what was the domestic violence? I like these domestic violence.
I know you seem to love. Yeah. No, so my thing is this. It's like you're.
I got an opposite one on.
No. So here's my example. It's like you're in a bad relationship with someone right now, and you know it's not going to work out. So it's making you reminisce about your ex that you still have feelings for, and it's making you look at them with rose-colored glasses, but also forgetting they treated you like shit at the end there too. It's revisionist history. People are remembering what they want to, man. It's like
I'm God! This mug said Joe Brady better than Shula. We're gonna get out of here with that mess. And no, it's not revisionist history, because here is the thing: is that's your example. But you know what Mike Shula was? Mike Shula was a good-looking girl, a girl that wrote me little love notes in middle school and whatever. She called me on the phone. She cared about me. She liked my mama. She cooked me a dinner. She took care of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was a good girl. And guess what? Because I'm a dog, because I'm a dude, and I'm an asshole, I go, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. Oh, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to find some woman who's going to we're going to do all these other things, cut me these eyes, this and that. And it turns out that they don't like my mama. They don't cook the food. They don't write me little love letters. I'm sick. They don't care about me. They care about themselves. We thought that Mike Shula was so bad. And then on the other side of the hill, there was something with the grass was greener. Well, it turns out it was grass, and it won't even good grass. It's a bunch of damn weeds. Joe Brady better than Mike Shula. Get out of here with that nonsense.
But then remember at the time, if you don't move on, that's like being in an abusive relationship, because you're like, well, I'll never be able to do any better, so I might as well just settle for what we have. No,
but it's not abusive, bro. It wasn't it turned out it wasn't abusive. You're like, this abusive relationship. You cook my eggs too hard. Ugh. This abusive relationship. Oh my God. No, this food's a little too dry.
They were verbally abusive.
Overcooked while you cooking verbally abusive. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Nope. It was bad, man. We got to move on. We have to find someone that's worthy of
Who
our
we move
love.
on to? That's it.
How about
All
this?
right.
My final point about it all. The Panthers need to find someone who will love them for who they are. Not Matt Rhule, not Norv Turner or Mike Shula or Ron Rivera. We need to move forward and find our actual soulmate.
Yeah.
As of yet, we haven't done it. We need a tender for NFL coaches.
Can we?
All these youngins in the chat, man.
I want to
all
have
these youngins in the chat are gonna regret how they just dissed
No,
these
they know
girls
what I'm
that gave them the best. You know what? And then
I,
They know I'm right, man.
I'll tell you this much. What I want is I want to think about, like, if you look at a teams like the Buccaneers, right? Like they did a fantastic job in building up their roster, so much so that it took Tom Brady to come down there to be like, Tom Brady chose to go there, right? Out of all the places he could have went, he went to Tampa Bay because guess what? They had a team that was built up and really needed one piece and one piece only, and that was a quarterback. That's the type of mindset we need to go forward with, right? We cannot build with the starting out with the QB, because that's just a recipe for having one good season of playoff contention and then everything fall into shit because now your offensive coordinators are getting hired as head coaches. You're having to figure out how to sign everybody that you've got on 5th year options or franchise tags, and it's just not conducive for a long history of success. Now we can point to the Kansas City Chiefs and say, well, they found a way to do that, and I think that is a rare case because when you have a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, I think it's going to make it a lot easier for these guys to take a friendly deal. So I want a team. I want to build this team up and make it be a destination that somebody, if they had the choice of any team in the NFL, that they'd want to come here. And I think it starts with an offensive coordinator being able to create an offense that's going to make these guys look fantastic.
Let's go to that. I saw Lynn post a great comment, said something to the effect of, and maybe you can go back and find it, Cody, is that an OC worth their salt. Like no OC worth their salt is going to come here. Is you got to think about the situation coming into, and if we feel this is kind of desperate as Panther fans, when it comes to Matt Rhule, you got to be a guy coming into a situation understanding that like this is a 1-year audition. Not just for you, but if you don't win the audition, the head coach is going to lose their job. So, I mean, I guess the best case scenario is that you fix it. The second best scenario is your interim head coach and you do pretty well without him. The most realistic thing is that you're probably all fired at the end of the year. So, like Lynn said, who are these OCs? When we think about the big names, the rock star offensive coordinators, as Jay Glazer has reported has reported that that Matt Rhule needs to hire. Those names, I heard this from Wilson. Who is it? Is Nick Wilson on WFNZ today. I thought this was a good point. So I can't misrepresent this take as mine because he brought it up to me. Is that like you can't get the best names because you're coming into a shitty job? The best names are going to be going towards potentially head coaching. Like, why would Jim Caldwell?
I mean, he's got a head coaching interviews, right?
Yeah, that's what he's hoping for, right? Like he ain't, and you're not going to pick up the phone early. You know what I'm saying? Like Matt Rhule's interviewing people today. He's at least going to wait 2 weeks to see if he gets an interview with the Bears or something. If you're Caldwell,
right? And look at what he's going to have to think about coming into, right? Because Caldwell is going to look at this year as an offensive coordinator if he ends up having to take an offensive coordinator job, as a resume builder for the head coaching position next year.
Sure.
Is Carolina going to be the place where you're building that head coaching resume with Sam Darnold?
Hell no.
Right. And so you're absolutely right. When you look at the candidates, who is going to come to Carolina when you have all of these, let's be real about some stuff. There's a lot of offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators about to be hired elsewhere. Right. And so now they're going to be vacant opportunities in much more desirable locations like Buffalo, like the Rams, like Arizona. There's going to be a lot of different opportunities out there for these guys to be able to get a better job. We are going to get the second to third tier quality offensive coordinators. Is it possible that we get a good person that's able to come in here and actually do something really good? Absolutely. That's something that is definitely going to be possible. But it's also one of these things where are we going to be excited when we hear the name that they decide to hire? And I don't think we will be.
And you know what? That's a good point too. It's like there's not, if you're going to bring someone in, they're either a rock star offensive coordinator already, or you're looking, amongst the depths at like,
they're not going to come in as a rock star. If they were a rock star, they wouldn't come here.
Yeah, they're not going to come here. And to the point, Scottie Montgomery is a name that's been floated, and that he's connected to Jonathan Taylor and how good Jonathan Taylor has been this year. So people think, okay, well, maybe that's a good coach for the job. By the way, I extend the same thing to the quarterbacks coach for the Green Bay Packers. Like, what? Now all of a sudden we're supposed to say, yeah, they have a really good quarterback coach because Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in football?
I got things to say. I got things, but don't worry. Scottie Montgomery was the head coach of my alma mater for 3 years. It ruined the program. Don't worry. But we got some things to talk about. So, but here is, we're kind of on that line, which is, is like you're not the most attractive job. So you're not going to bring in a candidate who is, in fact, a lot of people have said Pep Hamilton, right? Is a name that they want to hear. Isn't that his name? But he has declared potentially that he's going to stay with Houston. It looks like kind of the ownership, which is a bizarre way of doing it, but that they're kind of like hoping that he's going to stay on as offensive coordinator despite who they hire as a head coach, which is kind of a funny match, but then implies Flores and then a bunch of other stuff.
Right.
So the point is that if you're the top person, like how are you going to lure someone away from an offensive coordinator position or a better job to hear? Like you're not going to do it. So they either have to be unproven, they have to be overpaid with the idea that you're going to say that Tepper's going to go to appeal to him and say, if this falls off the rails, I'm actually going to make you interim head coach and give you an audition.
Or disgrace.
Right. Like it's going to be a kind of a gentleman's agreement there. Or you got to go towards a second tier or reclamation project. So let's go to the names. Let's do it. The Panthers. Look, this is the C3 Panthers podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast. Smash the thumbs up button. It helps us. It supports Panther Nation. We're in the doldrums of the season, the off season. We need your help. Thank you, all the people in the chat room. Whether you think the professor is an idiot or he's a genius. I think I'm an evil genius, an idiot genius in the process. Smash the thumbs up button. Call in at 252-228-5098. There have been some reported names here. Cody, I've heard. Do you got anything for me? If you don't have anything to put up at the same. All right, tell me who we got coming. Y'all do your thing. Do your thing.
I'm the producer of this mug for no reason. Come on, man. So there are some names that we have that we know we have interviewed for the job, man, for the offensive coordinator job. Those names include Jay Gruden, Ben McAdoo, Klint Kubiak, Mike Groh, and Scott Montgomery. And then it was also reported that Matt Rhule had even put out a feeler to Chip Kelly before they cut him off some more money to stay the head coach at UCLA. And that just kind of says to me everything I need to know. The fact that he's still willing to even dip into the college ranks to potentially get a coach. But I think the point that we made here was what is evident in the list that you're looking at. Everyone is either disgraced, they flamed out somewhere else, or there's someone that's potentially attached to a really good football player like a Jonathan Taylor, like an Aaron Rodgers. Now, some of these guys have better resumes than others, but none of these names jump off the page to me. If I'm being honest,
I mean, a lot of them jump into the page, like get them off of the list, right? I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to deal with the Jay Gruden shit, right? Let's get that out of you.
All right, let's add. The question I have is why on that, because
All
I
right.
understand that certain names invoke emotion among us. The Ben McAdoo name with grease bag hair makes me think of like a physical reaction. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Right.
you are allergic to seafood and you see seafood and you're like, "Ugh."
Right.
But I don't know if that's fair. Right?
I think it's
because
100%
to
fair.
me, I think Gruden and McAdoo in these cases, and I'm about to make an argument that both of them should be viable candidates here.
McAdoo?
Is that I think we think, yeah, is that yeah. And I'm not saying they're going to fix it, but I don't think they're as bad as people make out. I think you're having the visceral reaction to their names as head coaches. And go ahead.
I am absolutely.
You tell me why both of these people should be like we should. And that was my first reaction. The names are just getting worse and worse and worse.
All right, I'll tell
but
you.
I'll make an argument to you guys about how they're not the worst.
To your point, right? They got a head coaching job because they were good at being offensive coordinators at some point, or defensive whatever, or I guess offensive coordinators for these guys, right? That is true, right? So I'll start with Jay Gruden. Number one, I'll tell you my logical and my emotional response to that. My emotional is, let's get this dude that's absolutely unhinged out of here, like who found a way to screw up so bad in Washington that like they literally had to just throw in an entire like investigation that ruined not only like his career, but now his brother's career, right, as a head coach. And so
isn't it strange he hasn't been named in that though? If he was so complicit, like how about this? Is how did John Gruden, who wasn't even with the team, was just with ESPN, is getting fired from his job? Maybe Jay Gruden ain't that bad.
Or maybe he is, and he's not a head coach.
Number one.
Or maybe he was, and he's just not a head coach in the NFL. What's the point in going after him anymore? Right? Like he's no longer irrelevant.
He was a coach last year in the NFL.
But he was he a head coach? Like that's what I'm saying. Is like he was the offensive coordinator.
Like it doesn't matter if he wasn't a head coach or not. He's still.
But my thought is that's still ongoing. All of that stuff is still ongoing, and I don't want to be in a situation where we're having him on the roster as a coach. This is my logical side of things, thinking, hey, listen, this is still stuff that's still happening. There's still an investigation. They're still doing things that could very well impact Jay Gruden's ability to even be in the NFL any longer. And we don't know that yet. We don't know what's possible. So my logic is, why put ourselves through that ringer of having to answer these questions about, do we have an offensive coordinator that's actually a good offensive coordinator, or is he going to be a distraction? So let's take the distraction out of the equation. That's my thought. The other part is some of these other candidates, like like you said, the people that are like connected to really talented people, right? All you're doing is asking for another Adam Gase. If you do that, like that's all you're doing. Like like it's basically Adam Gase was known for having high
Gruden.
Peyton
is that who you're talking about?
Yeah,
Gruden.
No, he's a lesser version of Adam Gase, because the only reason why Gruden is the only reason Gruden is even a popular name at all is because of what he was able to do as the offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals between 2011 and 2013, where he made Andy Dalton look halfway decent.
I don't know if you remember. You don't remember because you were still like in diapers, Cody.
Oh, whatever.
But listen to this: is that I had to fight people on the internet. People were out there saying that Andy Dalton was a better quarterback than Cam Newton. I had to go out. I'd throw the gloves down. I would have to fight over this. But at the end of the day, if they were holding that position, got to give Jay Gruden a little credit on that. Him and AJ, man, he took AJ Green and they just did that thing. Wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst. All right, and I understand. I'm not saying that they were the greatest show on turf. But like, let's not completely shit on it. He did 3 playoff appearances.
Right.
Maybe he's just a bad head coach. And maybe he's not the greatest offensive coordinator, but I will tell you this. Pull the list back up. Pull that list back up. I will take Jay Gruden and smoking cigarettes outside the bar. Do you guys remember that picture when he was head coach?
That was hilarious.
That's like my favorite. I actually like this dude right away. I'm gonna be hanging out with him.
That does.
We're gonna
Yeah,
be
you
sitting
might
on
want
the
to
curb
smoke.
together, smoking cigarettes. You're gonna be right beside us, Cody, and you're gonna be like our GM. He is better than Scottie Montgomery. Number one.
I don't think
that's
he was
my
smoking
point.
a cigarette.
Jay
though.
Gruden. Yeah, well, oh yeah, he was smoking a stove, chilling out, sitting on the ground.
Dude, he was smoking.
Love it,
some,
love it. But here's the thing: is automatically we're talking about a guy who was an assistant coach on the 2002. They went to the Super Bowl and lost but still, he was like he coached with his brother. I don't think Mel Mayotte brought that up. He tried to say he was offensive coordinator, which wasn't true, but. The fact is he's been in football for a long time, number one, right? Number two, he's had significant time as an offensive coordinator twice, 2 spurts, once for 3 years in Cincinnati, once in Jacksonville last year. And I made fun of it. But here, this alone and his head coaching experience, head and shoulders above Scottie Montgomery, who, by the way, ruined ECU football for 6 years. Like, it took so long for us to get out of that rut. And on top of that, he went and was the offensive coordinator for Maryland. They were like 94th and 97th in offensive production as when he was offensive coordinator at Maryland. And then he goes and coaches Jonathan Taylor. So Jay Gruden, head and shoulders above Scottie Montgomery. Let's move on to Ben McAdoo.
No, you move on to Ben McAdoo. I want to hear you defend this. You said that Gruden and McAdoo, that they're not the worst picks that we could make. Now, if you would have said that about Bill O'Brien, I would say, okay, I could see that. I could see maybe Bill O'Brien.
Why? What did Bill O'Brien do?
Okay, how about most of his seasons as the play caller and the head coach for the Houston Texans? Even before they had Deshaun Watson, they were making the playoffs. The problem was when they gave Bill O'Brien the ability to draft and sign free agents. You don't want to have a coach and a GM, much like the Panthers do right now. But from a play calling perspective, everyone said that Bill O'Brien was really good at what he does. And if you listen to some of his tutorials talking about coverages, breaking down what the quarterback has to see, Bill O'Brien was a pretty damn good offensive mind. So from that front, I can understand it. Jay Gruden, I can even understand because of his time with Dalton. But you're going to have to sell me on McAdoo, bro.
All right.
Because
I'm not it's a little tough. It's tough. It's not easy. It's not easy for me. But how about this? Is that when McAdoo was an offensive coordinator for the New York Giants, he took them from the 26th ranked offense to the 16th ranked offense to the 6th ranked offense in 2 years. Right. So they go from a terrible offense to a middle of the pack in 1 year, middle of the pack to a top 10, 6th ranked offense, right? Not bad. I understand McAdoo's appearance is tough to overcome. It is. It's like probably like watching me on the sidelines. You'd be like, that's ridiculous. I can't even cheer for a person that looks like that. And here is my main piece of evidence, Cody. And I'm going to say, I should save this for debate my take. But it's like a piece of evidence. If I use it, it wins me the case and I got to go to jail at the same time. Ben McAdoo, when asked, who is known as a QB, I guess, guru, I don't know why, because I think he spent some time as a quarterbacks coach in Green Bay, right? Isn't that what you said? Weren't you the one that said that?
No, that was Getsy.
For some reason, I've heard McAdoo is good at assessing. Oh, here, Lane, look, we'll just read this story. Ben McAdoo rose through the ranks to become an NFL head coach before he turned 40, largely on his ability to assess and develop quarterbacks. Most everything went awry for him and the Giants in 2017, but that should not discount McAdoo as a keen evaluator of the most important position on the field. That's the quarterback. He rated Josh Allen, quote, of Wyoming as the best of the bunch. New York Giants' Pat Shurmur also had Allen as number 1. And McAdoo was not enamored with this class of quarterbacks. He said this: there is no Andrew Luck coming out, no guy head and shoulders above everybody else. And he was not high on Sam Darnold, saying his mechanics and ball security was a problem. He said, I think the kid the Jets drafted has a lot of magic in his game. I think he's special. He's obviously a talented guy. He can make plays with his feet. I just have a hard time drafting this guy in the first round where you don't necessarily like the way he throws. So my final death blow of evidence for Ben McAdoo as being the offensive coordinator, not that I'm lobbying for him, but why he's not the worst, Cody, is because he doesn't like Sam Darnold and he thinks like you. So what's worse than that?
You know what's funny? I remember hearing him getting drug over hot coals for that take but when he made it. Because you remember, once upon a time, Sam Darnold was the big shit coming out of college. He was supposed to be the main guy. And Josh Allen, it was viewed as this inaccurate guy. He's going to be a surefire bust in the NFL. So whenever he said that initially, people were like, oh, dude, this dude's a moron. And then you look at what he did in New York. Now that take looks incredible. It looks spotless.
Yeah.
Considering he's about to duel Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs again. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I just maybe he has an eye for talent. But, I mean, my thing is we're going to need a little bit more than that if the Panthers' offense is going to be successful. And I just, looking at his background, he was an offensive line coach for the 49ers, tight end coach for the Packers, quarterbacks coach. He was an offensive coordinator for the Giants before he was a head coach. And I just don't know that any of those things that he's ever done was, sufficient to prove that he could be a head coach anywhere. Or not even a head coach, an offensive coordinator.
Look, I'm not saying that anybody, when they hear these names, should be excited. In fact, when I heard these names myself, immediately had the dry heave, visceral reaction. I did. I've made jokes about it. But at the end of the day, I think that what Nick Wilson said was very important, is that to think that, it would be easy for us to get the best names in the business. Well, we want Eric Bieniemy to be our offensive coordinator who can be the head coach when he gets fired. Oh, we want this. And I think a good example of this is the Pep Hamilton example. At the end of the day, it's like, look, that name makes you feel good. Like, it's like, oh, Charlotte guy. You can say a bunch of crap that makes you feel cool about that. And to be honest, people said a bunch of it, and I don't even believe they seen anything that he's done. They just like, oh, Pep Hamilton. People tell me that sounds awesome. This is going to be great. This mug's trying to stay with the Houston Texans rather than even taking a job interview. Right.
So, Aaron,
you're trying to tell me we get the best candidates?
So, by the way, shout out to C-Dog in the chat, because he was saying this way earlier in the chat. The Texans passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach Pep Hamilton, who's been requested to interview for the Panthers OC vacancy, isn't expected to meet with them at this time. Per league sources, is expected to have other options this offseason, including Houston, depending on the head coach hire. So, yeah, man, he snubbed us. He's not coming here. And
it's not a snub. It's not a snub. You don't snub us. It's not a good position. You said you wouldn't even want to come here if you were a head coach, Cody. That's what you said. You said it was going to be hard for us to get.
It's still the snub. It's still a snub. How is it not? Are we defining that word to mean two different things? To me, a snub is just like, nah, not going to do it.
So, if I went up and asked a supermodel for a date, and I was like, but I was going to take you to a nice restaurant, she said no, would it be a snub? I just think it would be a no.
How did you define a snub?
How did you define a snub? Nah. Like, she gonna, A snub is like a disrespectful rub.
Yeah.
Like is like he like is that like like he's like nah, like I'm too good for your offensive coordinator. Like it's like nah, like I ain't trying to fuck with that.
But how
Nice.
you
Thanks
know
for
it's
the
not-
invite, but I got some plans. Thanks for the invite, but I got some plans.
It's still a step up from the job title that he does have.
It's not a step up. He's about to be the head coach of the Houston Texans, bro.
Yeah, I mean maybe.
What do you mean maybe? That's what that.
Yeah, I mean they haven't hired him yet.
Will you read our tweets different?
I mean, I'm
That
just saying
sounded
to
like
me,
that. That almost
man.
sounded like, hey, is that if Flores ain't trying to ball, we might make you the head coach. That's what that kind of message.
Oh, and by the way, great point by Eric here. He said it's a snub because it was just a freaking interview. Like you're just interviewing for the job. Like he could interview for the Panthers and still be in consideration to be the head coach of the Texans. One doesn't preclude the other, but still he didn't take it. It's a snub.
What if it's just like that's how bad the Carolina Panthers are? Like what if he gave him what if I offered him an interview at a high school football team and he said, nah, I've got some shit to do? Would you be like, oh, he snubbed us on our interview?
Yes, like, if you are brushing
really
us off, if you're brushing us off to do some other football related shit,
can't help me.
It's a snub. It's a snub, man. Dan Floyd has the best point. Either way, it's a rejection.
Right. I agree with that.
Maybe that says something about us more than anything. That's what I would say. All right. Who else is on the list? What about the Grohl? Because I'm just rendering that cat call. So we're gonna go to the cat calls in just a second. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Call up and tell us, is it a snub or are the Panthers a bit out over their skis, as some people say it? Cody, what were the other names? Scottie Montgomery. Will not talk about this dude, man. Bum, bro. Can't do a bum. I'm telling you. The other guys probably bums too, is my guess. But the guy with the Grohl, I heard a good joke. As they said, you got to go get a rock star.
There's one layer off from being Grohl.
And they went and got Dave. They thought they were getting Dave Grohl. They got his.
Yeah.
Dave Grohl would be a good OC. Actually, he would suck at being an OC. I've listened to some interviews. He's awesome. He'd be like, currently Mike
Grohl is the current wide receivers coach for the Indianapolis Colts. And he was
with the Colts fetish. What's up with, Will's got a thing for horse D's.
He was a wide receiver coach for the Eagles in 2017 and the offensive coordinator for the Eagles from 2018 to 2019. What year did Philly go to the Super Bowl? No, because then that was
they beat the
Frank
Patriots.
Reich.
All right, so it would have been
Frank Reich
Patriots
was
2016 played the Falcons, right?
Yeah, 2017 was Patriots and Philly.
Yeah.
So he was the wide receiver coach when the Patriots went to the Super Bowl.
You know what? It's like being wide receiver coach don't mean. You know what? We might as well get Ricky Prohl back here to be our offensive coordinator.
Ricky Prohl.
Yeah, our like former Super Bowl wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers.
Right? I mean, listen, he might as well,
like the wide receiver. Remember when we all used to think that Ricky Prohl like made, and there was some argument to it. It's like, I mean, look, Kelvin Benjamin came in and had 1,000-yard season. That was all Ricky Prohl back in the day. That's what we all thought, man. The guru, and everybody like, oh, Mike Shula sucks. Y'all.
He did. He
did not.
Revisionist history,
y'all,
man.
This is like, no, it's not revisionist history. It's one of those things. It is one of those things is you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah.
Dude, you're stuck on reminiscing, man. We need to move forward.
Not a reminiscing, man. It's like almost like, you know what? You didn't give me due credit. We didn't give him due credit.
He had
I know
plenty
you
of
don't like it.
opportunities to be better, and he squandered them.
Man,
Did you remember
you
how
have made so
boring
many
our
excuses about not having talent, not surrounding Cam Newton with talent? How many times did you say it was a travesty we didn't surround Cam Newton with talent? Mike Shula didn't have none of that. How about this? Is that we're talking shit about the offensive coordinators? They got the best skill positions. I saw somebody come out and say that DJ Moore is the second best receiver. They said this on Twitter yesterday, in fact. That DJ Moore is the second best receiver in Panthers history. And I have a hard time even
yeah, I wouldn't say that.
I don't know
Probably.
if I don't want to be mad about it. I don't know how to fight it. First, I would say it would be Steve Smith number 1. I would certainly say that Moose was higher up.
Who has more 1,000-yard seasons as a Panther, Moose or DJ?
Probably DJ. It's
So
close.
maybe
Nah, Moose probably only got 2. But here's the thing. I tell you this, is DJ's only got 12 touchdowns. He only scores 4 touchdowns a year.
yeah, but
I
how
don't
much
know.
of that is
And
related
if
to the quarterback?
DJ Moore is the second best receiver in the history of our team, that's like meh.
That's insane to think about.
Kind of meh. Yeah, it's like not. It's like that's what I'm saying. Mike Shula did this with nobody's, huh, man? Nobody's. He had Cam Newton, and this old white guy with them little glasses was like, RPO this bitch. Mike Shula knew how to use Cam Newton. Y'all don't like it. You don't like to hear it.
He was also vanilla and boring and needed to
Vanilla.
leave
He
by the
got
time
how many rushing touchdowns did Cam Newton have?
Yeah, because Cam Newton is Cam
vanilla.
Newton.
Oh
no, he gets no credit
that's
for
a
Cam
lie.
Newton being the
Oh my
best
God.
rushing
It's just a
quarterback to
bunch
ever live.
Of excuses.
No, dude.
Excuses. No, that
was
is the
Cam
truth.
Newton. I'm telling you, man.
It's bullshit. Like you talk.
Not bullshit.
I feel like you just pointing the finger at the mirror, then you throw the rubber. What he said, it's revisionist history. It's revisionist history. Get the fuck out.
Everybody wanted this man fired in his final year, man. No one wanted Shula to stick around longer than he did.
No, I'm not saying that.
He would do run up the middle on first, run up the middle on second, and pass it on third and long. That's all the dude ever did. Never could adapt after halftime.
What are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So, how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good. Like
this debate, man.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey guys, Chad down in Charleston. Just curious on your thoughts. I've been listening to you guys last few weeks, and I think that we need to consider. I guess what I'm considering is what would be a good move would be to basically be as bad as we could be next year. I think that's in the conversation. There's multiple quarterbacks in the following draft that we could get. I think with this draft, you just take best available at 6. It's still, I don't think you trade back. Just take best available. The guy I like is Kyle Hamilton. He drops at safety. It would be a huge pick for us. I also think that if we can trade our assets, I mean, it's time to kind of blow it up. I know that McCaffrey is saying not going to trade. I think if we could trade him, would be a great, whatever we could get, second or third round pick. If you could trade DJ Moore, do it. The goal for next year should be as bad as we can be. Unfortunately, try to get the number 1 or 2 pick. You got CJ Stroud at quarterback coming out, who's going to be elite. You got kid from Bama. Okay, name escapes me right now, but those 2 guys are really, really high end franchise quarterback type talent. So just curious on your thoughts on that. I think it's time to kind of get some more assets, get rid of some of these guys that, if we can get draft picks for them, do that. If we can get younger, I know we're young, but McCaffrey, Moore, they're just not going to take us anywhere. And I think you got to consider getting assets for them. Take the best talent at number 6. Kyle Hamilton's the guy for me. He is the top player in the draft. Yeah, I know he's a safety, but you fix your back end with him and JC coming up together. You can go quarterback the next year in the top 3, and you're more on your way than we are now, which is kind of just sitting in mediocrity with some pretty good players. Anyway, just thoughts on that, and then also with the coaching. Keeping Matt Rhule, it makes sense for that too. You fire the coach, the next year you have the first, second, or third pick. You bring in the new coach with the top pick, and then that always seems to work a little better. They get to pick their quarterback, and then we move forward. So I think the timing of that was smart by Tepper and Fitterer to go that way. Also think taking the best talent at number 6 makes sense too. There's no need to, if it is left tackle, if Neal drops, or I wouldn't take Cross at 6, but I would take Neal at 6. But I would take Hamilton before I would take Cross or the kid from NC State. So just thoughts on that. It's more about high-end talent. Get a Pro Bowler at safety to go with JC at cornerback on the back end.
Was that the end of the call?
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very possible that we stay pat or stay put at 6 and just pick a player, but I don't know. It's so early right now, man.
Yeah.
I think the fact of the matter is, until we hit our free agency, we really don't know what the Panthers are going to do at that position. Now, there are ways for us to free up some money in free agency before we do any of that. And that's something that, who knows if Fitterer is going to do that and have the wherewithal to do that. But I wanted to push back on one of those things that the caller said, though, that a year or so ago when I was saying, hey, the 2021 draft class is some of the best quarterbacks to come through the draft in a long time. We should, for lack of a better word, tank, or at least let the season be as bad as possible for us to draft a quarterback. Well, when I said that, I got a bunch of shit online, on the podcast, in the comments saying, oh, Cody, you're a bad fan. You don't ever tank to get the player. You don't ever do that. Well, but now so many fans are asking and saying, well, we're not going to be good next season anyway, so let's just tank to get the quarterback in the next year's draft. And, dude, thinking that far out never works. It never works. You have to build for the very next year. And that's why I was saying at the end of 2020, man, these games don't mean anything. Trade some players away. Put yourself in the position to be able to take a quarterback in the draft and then continue to build your team. But now that's not what we're going to do. And now everyone wants to go back to tanking for a quarterback. It just doesn't make sense, man. It really doesn't make sense. And it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way, planning to draft a quarterback in 2 years.
I thought the call was tremendous. I thought it was a phenomenal call. And I'm going to tell you this. No, I'm going to tell you why. Because, yeah, you were right, Cody. We should have done that in the past, but we didn't. We should have approached the rebuild in a more tactical manner, but we didn't, Cody. We tried to do weird shit. You know what I'm saying? We tried to get this bridge quarterback who we signed on a 3-year deal in Teddy Bridgewater, and then we win 5 games with this rookie, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, man, we're going to be something. Then you're going to be like, oh, but Teddy Bridgewater's holding us back. So let's go trade for Sam Darnold and give away all our assets. The problem is that what you got to do is, I think the caller is brilliant here and right on the money for a couple of reasons. I thought that he tied in so many conversations that I've been hearing in Panther Nation. Who's this safety? A lot of people a couple of people have been all
Kyle
on it.
Hamilton, he's the free safety. Well, he's a free safety.
So look, it's people have been about this dude. Like, he's like this ball guy, right? But here's the thing, is that somebody put this up, or maybe you even just said it, is that somebody put coaches don't tank. players don't tank, the teams
yeah.
tank. And it's a good comment. But here's the thing is that, you know what? Matt Rhule is fighting for his job, bro. You have to remember this. So is that, all right, here are your options. You can do something flashy, like flashy as F, and go get Deshaun Watson. Like, it's like the most flashy thing you could do, right? Is whether it works out, it doesn't work out, all of a sudden it's like, oh man, we good for a while until we're not. You can do probably the right thing, which is a slow rebuild right now, where you should have done it last year or 2 years ago, but you didn't, right? You can go draft an offensive tackle. You can go, you know what I'm saying? Like the boring, you can get this safety, but guess who's not going to survive that? You draft an offensive lineman in the first round next year, and you just add one player basically difference, and you add a couple of offensive linemen. You hope that Sam Darnold is going to be great. Guess who ain't going to have a job in 2022 or 2023? Excuse me.
Neither of them.
Yeah, none of it. Yeah, exactly. So, like, if he goes and does kind of what's best for the franchise for the long term, he's definitely not going to have a job because he already missed the opportunity to do what was best. He should have done that 2 years ago. So what he has to do now is he has to do something that is kind of dumb in theory. Like, you got to go and get all these players and get a quarterback. Or what I think you do is I think you spend a lot of money in free agency on offensive linemen. You draft at 6. Who gives the safety ain't going to help you but so much. He will. Like, he could be the balling ass mug and it could be the best pick, but guess what? It ain't going to mean nothing for the Carolina Panthers.
If it's not a defensive end, I don't want to draft defense.
Right.
Pick it. You're going to get this quarterback, and here's what's going to happen. The Panthers are going to be mediocre through half of the year. You're about to fire a coach, and you say, what? Sam, you know what? It's time to put in the young gun. Then the young gun comes in there and has a pretty good game. Throws 2 touchdowns and an interception, and we get a win. And all of a sudden, you're like, uh-oh, there's a future. That's what it's going to take to save Matt Rhule's job. He can't. If he does what's right, which is pick an offensive lineman, or even if I grant you that this guy, this safety, is the best thing I've ever heard of type thing, which I don't know anything about, so I just trust you guys for saying it. Like he's special and all this.
Yeah, he is. He's a beast.
If they draft that guy, Matt Rhule is fired right away.
I don't know right away, but like
not right away, but like it's impossible for him to win.
The writing will be on the wall.
He will not be the coach the next year. If he drafts Pickett, there is a slim chance. Yeah, it might not be the best odds, but there are some odds.
Yeah, but it's like, dude, if Matt Rhule is on that short of a leash with David Tepper,
we thought he wasn't even going to make it through last week.
Grass balls and fucking fire him now. It's like if he's one draft pick away.
If they have a losing season. All right, so how about this, Cody?
He's on the ledge
how about
already.
this? You get this safety. You get the safety in the draft. You don't get a trade back. You get that safety. You do this. What has to happen for Matt Rhule to keep his job? Like, he has to win 10 games. Like, it's like a crazy. Like, that's the only way he can keep his job is to like win 10 games.
Do we see a scenario where we make the playoffs and he still gets fired?
If you back into it, maybe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one of those stupid ways.
Like Steelers, for instance.
Yeah, like how the Steelers did this year. Yeah.
Or like the Panthers in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's to the point now, all the young guys on our football team, I'm afraid for them because I think that we're ruining the primes of their career. And they're just going to end up going to other teams and flourish, right?
Like him.
I've been
like him.
Okay, so for example, DJ Moore,
if
Brian
he says
Burns,
DJ Moore,
Jeremy
all you
Jane.
do is talk shit about DJ.
I mean, it's not all I do is talk
Oh
shit.
man, sorry we ruined his
The
career.
criticisms I have
For making
about
him a number one receiver.
DJ
Jesus
are legitimate,
Christ.
man. The dude doesn't have that number one wide receiver dog in him.
But we ruined his
that's
career.
not
So
saying
you
that he's
just
a bad
shit on
receiver
one hand
either.
and
I'm just saying these guys are going
Alright,
to end
give
up
me another
going
player than
somewhere, and
DJ.
they're
I
not
wanna hear
being
DJ.
developed.
Give me
They're
somebody
not
better
being
than that.
developed here. Fine, Brian Burns. How about this? I think that Brian Burns is the player that has had a bunch of,
You
a
shit
bunch
on
of
him
near
all
misses
season, man.
this
I want to
year.
hear this. You talk bad about.
No, you're not.
Man,
No,
what does
you're
he
not
say about me
listening
when
to
I'm
what
not
I'm
around?
saying. The
What
players
does he
that are
say about me when I'm not around?
underperforming, the players that are underperforming here in Carolina because we don't have the coaching staff to utilize their talent are going to go somewhere else and ball the fuck out. That's what I'm saying. I'm underwhelmed by them now, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were incredible somewhere else. We're wasting their potential
Oh,
with this
welcome to the
terrible
world of
coaching
being a
staff.
Panthers fan. I used to want to trade Steve Smith just to give him a life, and I always said, I promise you this: if we would have traded Steve Smith in 2010, 2009, 2010 to the Colts, when Peyton Manning and them were slinging it, would there be any second ballot consideration for Steve Smith? No. The Panthers held Steve Smith back. Like, I mean, if you would have put him on some of them teams, that would have been great. But we could say that about anybody. We're not really. You just said last night on Chris Jenkins' show that there were no superstars. Oh, so we're holding back the superstars from what? We're holding back these dying stars from being barely living stars. I don't want to hear it, Cody.
We don't. No, you're not able to hear the context in what I'm saying. None of the players on our football team outside of McCaffrey have shown anything that looks like a superstar, game-changing football player. What I am saying is that I would not be surprised to see these players go somewhere else and then display that talent that we didn't see from them here, because we were not able to get that out of them and put them in a position to actually be that superstar. That's my point. And we've already started to see that a little bit.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like if you look at it, I feel like both of these guys that we talked about, DJ Moore and Brian Burns, are this close to being pushed over the edge to being great, right? I don't think either of them are fantastic, like great talents yet. Like Brian Burns has shown flashes, but he hasn't shown consistency. Right, he hasn't shown the ability. He can get to the quarterback, but he's had a lot of trouble and actually struggled in getting the sacks. Right, and so I think that you get a guy on a team that actually knows how to get the most out of these guys. I think they turn into superstars. Absolutely, like I think 100% these guys turn into superstars. Do I think that they're absolutely, do I think he's 100% going to be like the guy? No. Do I think that there's a possibility that he goes somewhere else and does exactly what Devin Funchess did, which is basically do nothing?
Nothing.
You know,
he caught a football out of an airplane. Oh, I got to bring up the Devin Funchess. You guys remember when I hit Devin Funchess up on what's that app?
Yeah. Cameo.
Yeah. That's a good one. Hey, no. I was just gonna say before we go forward, any further. Listen, there's not a lot of pleasure to be derived from the Carolina Panthers. There just isn't. But you know what? There's a whole lot of pleasure to be derived when my man with the golden pipes, CK, comes in and drops that subscriber shame on y'all. Hey, CK, why don't you talk to these bunch of freaks that we got in the chat room, bro?
Well, all you freaks here just sitting around watching a bunch of crazy kids talk about the Carolina Panthers after the season's over, haven't once talked about the playoffs, and you guys are still watching this podcast for whatever reason, or listening even, and you haven't hit the like button yet? I don't know what you're doing with yourselves. I honestly don't know. Like, what's the like button for anyway? Like, do you just like not even see it? Hit the like button. This is your subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 115 people watching. 80 thumbs up. Listen, man, the Panthers are done. The Panthers are done. They're at home spending time with their families, hanging out, But you know who's not done? We're not done. We're still hanging out, man, talking Panthers football when nobody really wants to be talking Panthers football, because we're your go-to podcast for Panthers news and opinions. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit that notification bell to get updates every time we go live. Tony, you already know what it is. Let's continue.
Hey, Panther Nation. I'm new to the Carolina podcast, but you guys are so fun to watch. I've been a PSL owner for 15 years now.
Oh, man,
Appreciate
welcome.
you, man.
And man, do I have to say this was probably the most disappointing season ran by our organization. I'm really surprised Matt Rhule still has a job, and how they did Cam this season really just topped it off for me. I hope we somehow get some O-line in the future, maybe trade CMC. But, man, Matt Rhule is a clusterfuck right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I'll enjoy watching.
You can't beat the call top to bottom. First of all, welcome to the C3 Panthers podcast. We appreciate you and your Panther fandom. All we're trying to do is grow that voice together.
Yep.
On top of that is, as a PSL owner, you are invested in that team. And I think you're right, is that this is the team that's been one of the most difficult for us to watch from the outside. Actually, just period. From your seat, from my seat. It's tough. 2010. Look, it's hard for me to comment on 2001, but at the same time, the Panthers are only 6 years old at that time. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, it's like your 6-year-old, if he goes out there and lays an egg, like it goes to the play and just poops his pants and this and that, like, you're not like going to give up on his life. 2010 was tough, but there was the prospect of getting the number 1 draft pick, the turnover of a roster, a new coach. You know what I'm saying? There was things to think about going forward. I do believe that this one for me has been the hardest year personally for me to internalize as a Panther fan. Look, Christian McCaffrey being traded away is not going to happen. It can't happen. Nobody's like, if it happens to us, it actually hurts us. So other than that, I agree with the call 100,000%. And thank you for calling in 252-228-5098. Cody, speak on that comment. We got a first time caller, man. PSL life longer. What do you think about it?
Yeah, man. Dude, listen, if you're a PSL owner, I think you, above everyone else, has a right to be pissed off about the product that the Panthers are putting on field, right, man. Yeah, whenever you're paying your hard-earned money to go and save a seat and watch this football team continue to try out these subpar offensive linemen who shouldn't be out there, for us to have an offense that is completely built around a running back who can't stay healthy and on the football field. I mean, these things, they add up, man. They add up. And shout out to the PSL owners, because you guys are floating the football team. Like Tony said, you're invested in the football team. So, listen, man, at a certain point, you have to speak with your dollars, I think. If you really feel like the Panthers are genuinely a shit show and we cannot get this figured out, then maybe they're not deserving of the money that you're spending on that PSL. It sucks, man, and we appreciate the call, man. We love that people, we still have new people coming into the podcast, Tony, in the chat room and in the cat calls that I've never heard before, man. New people all the time.
First, I'd like, I'm going to continue to thank the caller for their support and their time. What I would ask the caller is to tell some friends in Charlotte about the podcast, because what I've found is interesting is that when you live in Charlotte, so I have a few friends, right, that live in Charlotte, and they're so inundated with the Panthers news because it's local, right? So their local TV stations, their local radio stations, their newspaper, all of this covers it nonstop. Not nonstop, but gives them a continued outlet. They see the billboards, this and that. For people outside of the Charlotte area, though, it's kind of hard for the Panthers the news to penetrate. They have to go look for it. You know what I mean? They really, truly have to go look for it. So when it comes to the podcast, if you've, at least I've thought this, is that we kind of have a base that's outside of Charlotte. Like our listeners, I mean, from the UK. Look at the people here. One person in this that runs this podcast lives in Charlotte, and that's Cody. You know, I've been doing this for 10 years. I live in Greenville, North Carolina. CK, you're in Virginia, right? Like the line, all of that. But like everybody, a lot of people that I know, and I here, think about Drew from Maine. Right, you think, and he's and this Cody, you're on mute.
Drew from Maine, Josh from Mass. We got friends from
Nick
California.
from Massachusetts.
Hey, how about this?
Yeah, I mean, we have
to everyone in the chat room. Drop where you're coming to us from right now, man. What
I bet
state
you Charlotte's the least on the list.
All right, let's see,
just put it that way. I promise you that.
Chat, where you at? Where you from?
So thanks to the caller, first of all. I'm glad you enjoy it, man. We've been doing this for 9 years, bro. And just tell some people in Charlotte. Like, we would love for you guys to listen to the post game on the way out of the show. The last thing I want to say about the call is this. Or maybe it's not the call, but what made me think about is that, like, if you're displeased with something, you can say boycott it, right? You can say, like, I'm not going to buy your shit no more. I'm not going to support you. I'm not going to do this podcast no more, this and that. But isn't the brilliance behind the PSL system is that whether they're good or shitty, you sold out? Like, is that man? Like, how do you you'd be like, oh, if you suck next year, we're not going to pay for our tickets. Well, you lose your PSL if you don't buy the season tickets, right? Like, you have to buy the season. Like, they have to be sold out. And so in some ways that brings stability to the organization, but it also brings the wine and cheese crowd.
Yeah. So. And it would also bring, people sell their PSLs.
Have we gotten to Charlotte yet?
Yeah, we've got a few.
Okay.
Nice. We've got a few Charlottes, man. We got New Jersey, Bay Area, Charlotte, Richmond, Virginia, Asheville, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Statesville, Mount Airy. So we definitely do still have a lot of North Carolina in the house, man.
All right. But all right, that's we need to get that Charlotte crew up. And I love that I've been hanging out with people. I got 3 or 4 friends from Britain just because of this podcast, which is insane.
Yeah, same,
Jay,
man, me too.
Yeah, boy, Jay Cryer, man. If you ever let him and I loose on a city, that shit's gonna get burned down.
Jay Cryer, Rich Kingston, Dexter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, we've got a bunch of fans from across the pond.
Jay and I are like brothers from another mother. Next call.
Hey, what's up, C3? What's up, Panther Nation? I'm just calling to say I love the podcast.
Thank you.
I love everything you guys are doing on the channel, so we can all suffer together. I just want to talk about what the plan is for the off season and what I would do if I was in the front office.
Oh,
for me, I would just feel that what I see is the top 4 needs on the team: guard, center, edge, and linebacker, and then accumulate as many picks as possible for next season. Because hopefully next season, Sam Darnold will be gone, Matt Rhule will be gone, hopefully the QB draft class will be deeper, and hopefully Scott Fitterer will have more control over this team once Matt Rhule's gone. And we can debate what those top 4 needs are as far as them being center and guard and edge and linebacker, but for me, main focus would be picking up as many picks as possible for next year. Hopefully we can see them make some good moves in this offseason and just focus on that, because this is kind of a dumpster fire right now in this team and we need to take it in a new direction. So keep doing what you're doing, and for all the other Panthers fans out there, I feel you. So
let me tell you this. Thank you for that call. Number 1. Number 2 is this Panther fan knows this team.
Yeah.
They know that you didn't. I don't believe they said their name.
Yeah, leave your name, by the way, so that way we can shout you out next time. But
this
fantastic
fan right here knows this team, right? Like, I mean, listed off the needs top to bottom and kind of said, like, we got to deal with this. And is it through free agency, this and that, the draft, and we got to pick up some picks along the way. This is the only thing. I'm gonna let you talk about the rest, Cody. But
Yeah.
to pick up the picks along the way is difficult. I know people say trade back. I hope we do. I don't care if we do, but like you have to have a dance partner when you go to the dance.
Yep.
So I hope someone gives us something that is significant enough to change our franchise. But I'm looking at them as like, man, I'm like, okay, we get a fourth. Maybe all right. I hope we get something great.
So, how about this? I think one of the things that we don't mention enough is that quarterbacks always get overinflated and overevaluated. I think as the draft continues to loom closer and closer, we're going to see
need one,
Pickett and Corral. They're going to continue to be evaluated higher and higher, and that might be a good opportunity for the Panthers to trade back a little bit. But listen, that call was fantastic. She was right on the money. We have to build our offensive interior. We need a brand new center. We need a brand new guard. We have to rebuild the interior of this offensive line too.
And issues on defense.
And issues on defense too. And another thing that we have to consider is that we might not be as many players away on the offensive line as we might think, man. Again, we've said these two names. But Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown. If those are two starters right there, then those are two less positions.
Somebody's going to get hurt. Like, it don't matter. Is that all right? Yes. All right. Say you get one of the two. Say they're both starters. Somebody's going to get hurt next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't just say that we got 5 people and they're going to work. You're talking about 5 people and then 3 of them you don't know anything about? Come on.
Yeah.
That's like a long shot. Hail Mary, full of grace.
Yep. CK, I know you got to jump out of here, man. Anything you want to say before you jump off?
Just listen, it's going to be good watching teams that know how to play football this weekend without any, even last weekend and not have any skin in the game. We can root for our Panthers of the North and the Buffalo Bills, bro. I've got to get off here, guys. You guys have a good evening. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. People talk about a team that's irrelevant right now in the NFL. You guys are absolutely amazing hanging out. These guys will be able to take care of you from here. So I'm gonna dip out, guys.
Peace
Much
and
love,
brother.
Go get them,
CK.
Thanks for your time tonight.
Hey.
Let's go to the next call. It's a short one, 8 seconds. And it's silence. Now let's go to the next call, which I hope is full of
What
energy.
up, C3 family? It's your boy, 89 J Stubbs.
J Stubbs,
Angel Investor.
Stay safe in this Stormageddon. Just touch on what I called in last week, man. And I think Tony kind of caught on to it as well, man. I just think that we're going to try to fix the O-line in the offseason, use that Hassan Reddick money, and get some offensive linemen. And I got a strange feeling about Kenny Pickett, man. I really do. I'm not. Everybody looks good in college, but I think that's Tepper's get out of jail free card. Hey, I'll get this quarterback. We'll get Sam off the books. We'll have a cheap quarterback. We'll try to build the defense and the O-line. I got a strange feeling, and
I called this too.
I mean, maybe they can bring in, Orlando Brown's a free agent. Maybe they max him out. Maybe they take a center in the second or third, or they can trade McAdoo for a second. I don't know, man. I got a strange feeling that, we can't keep picking corners and linebackers and defensive tackles in the top 10. You just can't, But anyway, marrying on that, I know the fan base wants to fix the O-line, but it can be kind of risky, picking a quarterback and O-lineman that high, And I would have put it past him if that safety from Notre Dame's there at 6. I mean, he's probably one of the best players in the draft. Like, you take the position out of it. But anyway, keep pounding.
I'm telling you, bro, I was onto it. I have been onto it. I am onto it. When we were talking about earlier about what is the right thing to do, and this is where I don't think I finished my thought well, is that a call? Like, what is the right thing to do, which is to pick the best player, to pick an offensive lineman. But if you pick an offensive lineman, you pick a left tackle and say he's great in 3 years, that does not save Matt Rhule's job. Sorry, Matt Rhule doesn't have a job anymore. Right? You pick this safety, he's amazing, and the defense even is like a little bit better or a lot bit better, but your offensive line still sucks. You still suck. You win 6 games, 7 games, 9 games. I don't care. Like, you would have to win over 10, still losing his job. So what is going to save Matt Rhule? And that is, if I'm Matt Rhule, that's what I'm thinking is what will let me live to fight another day. And that's not a bad position when you're a general of an army. That's what George Washington, like, you got to just live. You got to live. Dying is worse than living. And if I'm Matt Rhule, I'm going into free agency. I'm getting some offensive linemen. I am then, like my man Joe Marino, who I'm trying to court. I need you guys to tweet this guy and say, come on, the C3 Panthers. I want to get the C3. I want to get Panther Nation. We got to give some name. Like, what do we have a cool name for the people that listen? We need to get one. But here is the thing is that, look, this guy right here, Joe Marino, senior draft analyst for the Draft Network, comes out here and says this: the Panthers are going to go out there, free up money when it comes to the offensive line. They're going to or free up cap money. They're going to then target offensive linemen. And then guess what they're going to do? They're going to draft Kenny Pickett at number 6. And I think what Matt Rhule has to do is sell you on optimism. You come out there and you're all right next year. Sam Darnold gets hurt. The bye week comes in. You put in Pickett. He wins a game. He gets you a little bit. And all of a sudden we're excited about the future. That's the only thing that can save Matt Rhule's job other than winning like 12 games, which is unrealistic. That's more unrealistic than my proposition. But who was saying this? I was saying this, and now they're writing about it, Cody.
They're writing about it, but it doesn't mean that it's the right decision either. Because what did you just say?
What's the right decision then? What's wrong
what did
with
you
my
just
decision?
say? You said it sells you a bill of hope. But that doesn't mean that it's the most hopeful.
If you're Matt Rhule, it's the best decision. What else are you going to do?
But I'm not just thinking about Matt Rhule.
Well, you have to be about what would you do if it was your job? What would you do? Like, is that not a realistic perspective to have?
I mean, you're going through the entire evaluation process, but no, it was the thing that you should have done last year. That's what we should have done. We should have taken Justin Fields while we had the opportunity to do
that, but he has got to save his job. All right, so what do? You say this?
But how does that save his job?
Team for the next guy?
But Justin Fields didn't save Matt Nagy's job up in Chicago. Drafting a rookie quarterback is not guaranteed to save you your job.
No. But it's a different premise, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that what I'm saying? Is this is Matt Rhule? Did Nagy have that many swings and misses as Matt Rhule had at quarterback? No. What else? If you're Matt Rhule, how about this? You're Matt Rhule, the coach of the Carolina Panthers right now. What do you do?
If you're, right now.
No, what do you do? Like, you have to hire an offensive coordinator. Now, I'm not saying you can go back and you can't change anything. You are Matt Rhule right now. What do you do? And I think it is spend on the offensive line. Bring Sam Darnold out there because you got to pay him anyway. And you know what I'm saying? You have to pay him that ATM. Like, you don't lose. You can cut him. You can make him go. But you say this, you don't even tell him. You be like, you're the starter. We're going to get these offensive linemen. And what if it works? Imagine that. Imagine if Sam Darnold all of a sudden comes out and wins 6 games. Then you just get to do what? You get to sit Kenny Pickett and let him learn You heard Matt
again, though,
Rhule
man,
say
like-
the Alex Smith off. That's what I'm saying. This is the moment. I'm on to something and you're discrediting it, and I don't like it.
Because you don't know anything about these quarterbacks and you're endorsing that we draft one in the first round. For what? Why? Why can he pick it?
To not
other than the
quit.
fact that he was,
All right, well, then why not? Tell me why not.
Temple.
Tell me why not. Why not?
No, but you have to tell me why, though. I'm saying, how does this say? You're the one saying that this is what Matt Rhule essentially has to do to save his job.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that it
Tell
doesn't
me how
save
he.
his job.
Tell me another way he saves his job. Then tell me
by
another
doing
way.
what we all think they should do and just have a draft that is filled with offensive players and offensive weapons.
He only has one pick, bro.
And not unless you trade back.
No, all right. So you're saying that's just a magical. All right. So he's going to trade back and get what? And then what's going to happen? Tell me what happens.
Listen, if you
tell me, no, for
back,
real. All right. So he trades back, and what does he get? How does he save his job, bro? I'm telling you, it's like he is. You might as well fire him right this moment. You have already said. You said the best thing to do is for him to ultimately quit. You have not given me a pathway for him to save his job. And if I'm not,
maybe you want too much. How about that? I don't know if there is a pathway for Matt Rhule to save his job. Listen. That does not save his job. It just doesn't. You're putting him in a position to fail unless you feel like you have. No, you want to know what? I'll tell you what you do. I'll tell you what you do. You try and trade back a little bit, slide back into between 10 and 15, pick up Charles Cross, the offensive tackle from Mississippi State, who, by the way, at some point we're going to do a film review on. Those are still coming, I promise. I'm going to try and release one this week too. We're going to try and do a film review. But then maybe if you pick up a second or a third round pick in the process, maybe you can pick up Malik Willis, the quarterback out of Liberty, who has plus arm talent, very mobile, didn't have the opportunity to play with a lot of talent around him. Then you can pick him up and kill two birds with one stone.
What happens to Matt? Where's Matt Rhule coaching in 2022? Then 2023. Then after that draft,
dude, he might be at a fucking community college for all I know. What I'm saying is that there is no way.
That's not fair.
That would be his third time picking a quarterback.
Then you should just go ahead and fire him. And I'm
That's what
okay with
everyone
that.
says.
But no, you cannot let this guy go into the draft and have significant input and not believe that he is going to make every possible effort to survive. And if he doesn't, then you know what? He's even worse than I thought he was.
But just
so I'm sorry. That might be the best theory in rebuild. But you have to think about the people that are in the building. They don't want to be the person that sets up the next person.
So we're just going to draft a quarterback to destroy their career before it even starts?
I'm not saying destroy that career. I don't know. Maybe. But kind of, but you could have said that about Will Grier, too. We destroyed his career, too. Then, yes, is that kind of... Neither did Pickett, so shut up. No, neither did Pickett. So,
quarterback in the top 10
Greer's a less of a person than Pickett. Get the fuck out of here. Look,
Greer's a basic bitch. But my point being is that you're not going to draft a quarterback with your top 10 pick, and that equaled the path to saving Matt Rhule's job. And by the way, you're also going to have a brand new. You're going to have a brand new offensive coordinator too. You're going to have a brand new offensive coordinator. And a brand new quarterback.
Then you know what? Then Matt Rhule should just quit. There's no way for him.
There is no way to save this man's job unless he all of a sudden
he should just quit.
Over the course of the offseason, he has to become a better coach.
Gods. What I say, if he does what I say, he has some long gods. They're long. They might not work, but they're better than Cody's odds, which are just like quitting. You draft a damn left tackle and you're still the same shitty team next year, bro. Done.
Do the same shitty team if you draft a quarterback too. You're the same shitty team.
You pursue in free agency aggressively, and you try to promise hope. You sell. You become a salesman. So I'm sorry. We don't see it the same way, and you're wrong. Next call.
What's going on, fellas? This Jay Prey. It's my first time calling in, man.
What up, Jay?
And, really respect the show, love the show, man. First thing, man. This team, we got a long way to go. Man. And I think it all started from the top, man, from the head. And Tepper, he really can sit back and let Matt Rhule do this, man. Is really showing us something. You know, he has to really take control of this team and say, hey, I made a mistake. I got to get rid of this dude. I got to get somebody in here who know what they doing and try to turn this around. You know, sometimes you got to use that money to play bully mode. We need to go into bully mode right now. Get this dude out of here, throw some of that good money around, get somebody in here that know what they doing and spread some of that money so we can really get a good coaching staff who know how to build a team, know how to coach these players up. Because we have a good squad, we just need them coached up and somebody that can really evaluate talent and know how to build them up. You know, so and another thing, man, I think that we keep McCaffrey because of contract. Hopefully we can keep DJ. We got a good foundation, I believe, especially if we can keep Reddick and a couple of guys on defense. And we just need a good coaching staff, man. We just need a good coaching staff and to keep it going. So one love to the show. Like I say, everybody hit that like button and send a couple dollars if you can and keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Jay Prey, appreciate you, man. That's a hell of a call, brother. You know we appreciate that love. Yeah, I mean, Tony, look, that goes back to what we were saying, man. Like, it might not be the answer that you want to hear. It's not the answer that a lot of people want to hear because ultimately it means more years of mediocrity. No, worse than mediocrity for the Carolina Panthers.
It's gonna be
but Tony,
bad.
you came to the inevitable conclusion on your own. There is no way for Matt Rhule to turn this around. And it's not us being pessimists either. We have seen no evidence.
I've been asking it. Haven't I not been asking it?
Yeah, he continuously shows us nothing. There is no pathway, and that's the sad truth. And drafting a quarterback in the top 10, that also isn't going to make things better either. Matt Rhule is done for, and once again, David Tepper, Mr. Day Late Dollars Short, is kicking the can down the road, doing something that he should be doing now, saving it for later. And then once again, we're going to be a step behind all these other NFL teams.
I know. I mean, look, I agree with you on the day late, dollar short. I agree that it's just time to move on. Even if I don't even care if he has some potential or not. He don't have no potential with us, Matt Rhule. That's how I've just kind of, I ain't trying to dump on his self-worth at this point. I hope you got $64 million. I don't feel sorry for you. Fuck you.
And again, you know what?
Go back to that. Actually, you know what? You got $64 million. I don't feel sorry for you.
Yeah, but it's like
get the fuck out of here.
You shouldn't feel bad because we're not saying, hey, you're a bad person, you're a bad husband, you're a bad father. Like, no one's taking personal shots at us. We're just saying, hey, dude, you're not good at your job, and we don't want you to do that job.
I don't like to be firing everybody. I mean, if I have bad days at my job, I don't want somebody being like, coming in there and like, dude, fire you. So I understand. I'm not trying to be over on that. But at the end of the day, is that I've given you the only possible way, and it's long odds of how I think he can save his job. And aggressively pursuing the offensive line, hitting with a rookie quarterback. And what I'm saying, Cody, is that I don't think this is going to, could happen, will happen. I hope it does happen in a way, because then that would be like us putting $5 on a single number on roulette and getting 23-1 odds. They're long odds, but that's the only way. If he drafts a left tackle and the team goes 5-12 again, he's done.
Yeah.
If you draft, already know my prediction. What we kind of need to do, and that's what I've been so disappointed with this is that we were promised the builder. We were promised a carpenter, a master carpenter. And he just slapped together some IKEA furniture for us. He didn't do it the right way. He should have done this just 2 years ago. We would have been fine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about this. If you made these sacrifices last year and this year, we would have been fine. We would not have been like, oh, Matt Rhule's the problem. Matt Rhule's the problem. We've been like, oh, we got to really build this offensive line. We got to do it. But the problem is we ain't got no draft capital. We ain't got, he sacrificed the things that he told us he wouldn't do. He's the devil. He took us up to the top and he asked, he's like, you want to be king of this mountain? King of this? What do you want? He is the devil. He tempted us, Matt Rhule. Matt Rhule tempted us at the temple. How about that? That's a hell of a name for a show going forward. 252-228-5098. Next call.
Everyone repeat after me. We
I love it.
Don't
We
need
We don't need
to give up picks
give up
picks
to
get
a shitty quarterback.
Amazing quarterback.
We don't need Jimmy G. We don't need Kirk Cousins. We don't need any of those fools. Okay? We've already lost enough draft picks.
Man.
Stop trading draft picks to get shitty players. Okay?
Yeah.
We don't need those players on our team. We need to accumulate more picks so that way we can build the team properly. Not get Kirk Cousins, not get Jimmy Garoppolo, not get, your Uncle Ricky that can throw a football.
Rico and his Gardner Minshew.
We just need to go through the draft, and we need to build a team properly. And if anyone wants to argue with me about it, they can come on the Friday free-for-all and argue all they want, because I'm down to listen. Keep pounding, guys.
Don't talk
Keep
junk
pounding.
about my Uncle Rico. Also,
that's
my nephew
free-for-all
Rico.
brethren right there, man. And he's right. He's right, Tony. There was another report that we're interested in like Kirk Cousins that we want to trade for.
That's bullshit.
I don't know that it is bullshit. That fits right in line with everything that we've seen from these current Panthers.
Kirk Cousins make way too much to be with the Panthers. You know what I'm saying? Kirk Cousins is that kind of like that ugly rich bitch that thinks she's cooler than you are. But like she ain't gonna go out there like you would go out with her. Like I'm telling you, you were using these analogies earlier. Is that like these basic this and that? Kirk Cousins is the girl that comes from a rich family that's ugly.
She got money, but she ain't got the looks. I don't know. Does she even
you know what? She don't want to go out to dinner with us. And to be honest, she's smart enough to like be a good date for
No,
look,
I think maybe
I give Kirk Cousins some credit, bro. That mug made some loot.
Dude,
he was one of the first few people that
comes...
took a fully guaranteed contract. He was like, "I'll take $84 million. Fuck that, bam, bye bye."
I think that maybe she's that chick that comes from a rich family and a rich father, and she's used to leaning on that, and she's never had to build anything on her own. And if anything, it's the other way around. She's just good looks and no sustenance. Like there's nothing behind those. But
you're lying, man. That was RG3. That was RG3. That was a prettier daughter. She's the second daughter to the rich man.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Next call.
Either or, it's not Kirk Cousins.
Look, it's first of all, none of us. Kirk Cousins ain't fixing the Carolina Panthers. Number one. Number two, he's going to cost us too much money. Number three, Jesus Christ! Imagine this podcast if we got to argue over if RG3 or Kirk Cousins is prettier. Next call.
Everyone repeat after
That's
me.
The same one. Next call.
Hey, gentlemen. It's Daniel again.
What's up, Daniel?
Well, what else can be said? I'm just looking forward to the draft at this point. Seeing what we do, what we're going to do, if we're going to make any trades to get more draft capital. Man, I wish I knew what we were going to do, but it's just crazy. And you know what came across my mind the other day is I was talking to my wife, and I was like, you know what Matt Rhule reminds me of, and I started thinking of the Water Boy, the movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but Coach Klein, man. Coach Klein. I don't, it's comical, but he reminded me so much, man. It's crazy. Like, I love my Panthers, gentlemen, but this is comical. But just wanted to share that with y'all. You know, if y'all haven't watched the Waterboy movie, I think y'all should, and just watch Coach Klein. Think of Matt Rhule. As always, gentlemen, keep up the good job and keep counting.
Well, you know what he tells us is just coach more, coach harder. If you were better to coach, then I could coach harder. Blah, 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 blah. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the conversation. Thank you for being part of the community. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, guys. It's Chuck from Elizabeth City, a.k.a. Carolina Sports Guy.
What's up, Chuck?
Tony, Cody, guys, I told you a long time ago, but in a more positive realm. Matt Rhule's voice sounds a lot like Sam Kinison. So somebody would please go out and play when Sam Kinison talks and laughs, and then when he breaks out in that horrific scream, to put it right in Matt Rhule if you just bleach him during the sideline, and it fits perfectly. But his voice, his caricature, his little smirky saying sounds a lot like Sam Kinison. So y'all got to somehow find and edit some audio of Sam Kinison and put it with Matt Rhule, and trust me, it works.
You booked a sunny Verbo ski chalet with endless views of snow-covered peaks. But the thing they'll remember for
is that
what I would
you?
say is like watch the ads, folks. It helps us on YouTube. Is that all right? Here we go.
If you've seen him before, you
This is Sam Kinison.
I think this outfit says, I think this fashion statement says, I'm having a good fucking time.
Oh my God, it does sound like him.
It's kind of clothes you just put on and goes, come on, come on. You wanted to party? Fuck it, let's go.
Oh my God,
It does sound like him.
exactly like him. It's like a
love
like
women.
8 years younger version of Matt Rhule.
Is that
My
Sam
record proves
Kinison?
that.
Yeah, that's it.
I've been in love about 9 times now. And it's been real every time, folks. Every time it was gonna last forever. Remember, you fucking bitches! Forever! I buy it every time. I gotta tell you, I buy it every fucking time. I do, man. Love comes to my life, goes, come on, come on! Come on, this is love.
I like it. I like it, man. I agree. You know what? He does sound like when he's yelling. I agree. Sam Kinison, Chuck, the Carolina, aka Carolina Sports Guy, with a great reference. I need you guys to tell me earlier. We got a lot of battles going on tonight. First of all, I need you to get up in this chat room and tell me who would. Well, we have the other one, man. Bro, I have not been as mad as I have ever been tonight as I am with Cody. For real. Like, this is the first time I was like, man, I'm going to come over there.
And you're just mad because I'm right and the whole chat room knows it and you feel all emotional. Why does nobody like my opinions as much as Cody's?
You know what? I'm about to walk over. I'm about to go.
Hey, guys.
Because
Yeah, I may sound pretty shitty, but I still got a lot to say, damn it. Rhule is an idiot, first and foremost. I think every podcast should start with fire Rhule. We saw lead a fire Rhule chant.
That's right. That's right.
But then what I was gonna say about Rhule is, like, did you hear what happened? Like, did you see what happened this year to Matt Nagy? The Chicago Bears fans were all over his. Every Chicago sporting event you went to, and I don't know if they're jacking us because we started doing it at Hornets games or they did it before. I don't know. I mean, Charlotte never comes up with anything of its own, so I'm pretty sure we jacked this from Bears fans. So you'd go to a Bulls game, fire Nagy. You'd go to any other game, they'd be chanting that. Hell, there were some fans, and now this is way too far, but there were some fans that were at Matt
I'd
Nagy's
mop that ass
high
up.
school football game, and they decided to start chanting "Fire Nagy." Yeah, that's how much they didn't like him. Matt Rhule is going to become that next year. He's going to be on like really thin ice. Actually, it's kind of period correct because we're having some icy weather here, but he's going to be on really thin ice. If he does a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 like Judge did, I think like in the middle of meetings at work, people are gonna chant "Fire Rule." Like then you see each other in the hallways at work. That's gonna be a common greeting for Panthers fans. Anyway, guys, I still got it in me, even though I kind of got a scratchy throat and stuff. I still got it in me. I'm about to do a big one.
Oh, you better, Joey.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, there you go. We don't give a damn about a sore throat, man. We come to expect our Panther growl at the end, Joey. And don't you ever forget. But yeah, Tony went to break shit because he's upset. He's sad and upset that I'm right all the time. And the entire chat room knows I'm right all the time. But, what are they going to do, dude? I don't know. Thinking about fire Matt Rhule, yeah, I wish Panther fans would have done a little bit more to, voice our opinions at the stadium at the end of the day. Maybe do some of what the Jacksonville Jaguars fans did. They had clown outfits when they went to their final home game. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, but what more could we do, man? What more could Panther Nation do to voice ourselves that we're done with this coaching staff, that we don't want to do this for another year, man? Man, how do I even go back to there we go. Tony ain't here no more. This is my show now, y'all. C3 is the Cody's Panther podcast. That's what this show is now. I don't make the rules, man. This is my show. Tony is no longer on the show. I'm kicking him off. He doesn't know it, but it's okay, man. We're going to have fun. We don't even need Tony on this show. Oh, shit, he's back. Never mind. Hey, Tony, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Well, man, here. You get some more time to talk junk about me. Here you go, next call.
No, I didn't say that.
Hey, guys. This is Chuck from Elizabeth City, a.k.a. Carolina sports guy. Cody, got to let you know, man, and Tony, you too, that, my rule is as good as gone. And the only reason why Tepper hasn't done it yet is because his calculated moves of when he thought he had Rhule as a good hire, and it's been egg on his face. When he let Ron go, when he did, probably waited too long. But like I said, he was going by the resume of what Ron had provided before in the past for the 3 straight division titles. And, he rode Cam in the ground, and it didn't work out. And we had some losses we probably shouldn't have lost, but it happened. He held on too long, and then when he pulled the trigger, he pulled it too late. And the thing is now with Rhule, he's already made a mistake. If he was to just go ahead and fire Matt Rhule, he doesn't really have someone in mind or someone who is available that he thinks can take the job and take over this team and lead it to where it needs to go. So therefore, he's got to suffer with what we have. Not going to hurt. If Rhule does terrible, we're looking for a coach anyway. If Rhule's do well, then he looks like, hey, built time, gave him time. But the whole scenario is Rhule's on a short leash. He's got to give him a year because he's got to get the guy. He might not even know who the guy is yet, him in Federer. He's got to give it time to find the guy that they know will be the guy to lead this team to the promised land. And a lot of times it's based on time. And like I've said before, guys, So he just can't pull the trigger like he's done in the past because it's blown up in his face. So he's got to wait until the time is right. And like I said, the time's not right, but it will be right when the right person appears.
That sounds painful. That's what that sounds to me, is that the right decision, which people have actually been saying, is draft an offensive lineman, draft this best safety. These are moves for the long run, which should have been made 2 years ago, theoretically, or 3 years ago before these guys came in. But when Matt Rhule came in, you should be playing the long game, not the short game. And I tell you, you know what this sounds like? It's painful to me. That's what that news is. The right decisions, the way, the reality of what it's going to be. Not even the right decisions, the reality of what this will be for us is going to be painful. It's going to be more painful for the C3 Panthers podcast than it is going to be for Matt Rhule. It's going to be more painful. He's going to lose his job. He's going to have $64 million. We're going to be losing this. We're going to be still doing this podcast crying about having no wins, being terrible. We messed up on the quarterback, and we trying to get an extra sub. We're trying to get an extra thumb. We're trying to get this and that. Man, we're begging for you. Call 252-228-5090. I ain't begging for shit. Cody, what's your opinion on that? You over there, y'all been telling jokes about me in the chat room. You don't even let me in on the. Come on, why are you talking about me on my behind my back?
No, we weren't talking about you behind your back.
Mm-hmm.
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, dude. Look, dude. This is what it is, man. Look, at this point, we already know who the Panthers are. We know who Matt Rhule is. I feel like we know who the players on our team are. We're just being realistic, man. We're being realistic about who we are and what kind of team
we're gonna be
look to be
shitty for 3
forward.
years at this point. Maybe 4.
I mean, yeah, but like at the end of the day, all we can do is continue being fans, man, and doing this podcast for people to come and hang out and watch me embarrass you on Debate My Take on this show, make better points than you, all that stuff, bro. All that stuff.
You just guys, the next one.
Hey guys, it's Joey again. And remember when we had those billboards? We had the billboards on 77 that said Carolina because we wanted to keep Cam. And because yes, we actually do have some real fans that will, crowdsource money and take out a billboard like it on what is like prime real estate for billboards. Really, I mean 77. I mean you can't avoid 77 if you live in Charlotte.
Right.
So you're gonna have to go on it at one point. But yeah, we have one of those. I don't know if there are any. Damn, wouldn't it be awesome if there was some Fire Rule billboards? That's coming. Like on my last call, I said people are going to be chanting his name. People are going to be chanting Fire Rule when they meet a Panthers fan at work. Yeah, that's coming. We're going to have Fire Rule billboards. I'm sure that's coming. Actually, maybe after the draft.
Where did he say that was at? That billboard, like the best billboard down.
No,
yeah,
bro,
when they were putting up
if we don't
keep
pick an
Cam
O-line
and Carolina
in the first round.
billboards.
Where was it at?
Yeah, it was off 77, but there was a bunch of them. There was
You
a
know
bunch
what?
of billboards.
What
that
if
they
I
put
was
up.
Joey? I would say never saw it. Next call.
Why are you giving me the cold shoulder, baby? I need some more of that salt and pepper for my sausage. Call me back, baby.
All right. Ooh.
Wait, play that. Play
Let's
it.
hear one more time. It's better. Is you know what? It's nothing's worse than Father Jackson. You don't remember Father Jackson already? Your green paint man with his Pildo and your.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you got some.
I didn't remember that at all. I scrubbed that from my memory banks. I have no idea what you're
got
talking
it saved.
about.
Tony, why are you giving me the?
Oh, it's to me.
Yes,
that?
Hey guys, it's Joey
Hold
again.
on. There it goes.
Tony, why are you giving me the cold shoulder, baby? I need some more of that salt and pepper for my sausage. Call me back, baby.
It's Mike Shula, obviously. Good God. I didn't want to win that much, Mugs. I was trying to beat Cody. And they were like, yeah, I love you.
What have you been doing to that man's sausage? I thought I knew you, bro.
He just likes my hair again.
You said
you don't know me.
You said you were putting salt and pepper on his sausage, bro. I mean, I don't judge.
What does that even mean?
Do whatever makes you happy, man. I don't judge ever, man. Do you live your truth?
Next call. I hope it's him again.
Yeah, hi. My call's about Matt Rhule and how I think he really doesn't have what it takes to be the coach. I'm not sold on him. I basically have no optimism for the upcoming season, and we just need a new guy in there. I prefer Eric Bieniemy or Eric Bieniemy for me. Yeah. So sorry, the first time caller.
First time call. You sure you weren't calling to ask about salt and pepper my sausage? Oh, sorry. All right, I think it died out. First of all, all right, thank you for your call. Second of all, Trill one. My man. Dude is so smart. Smart, dude. Smart.
Yeah, you are cheating on Cam, and that's pretty fucked up.
He said this. I'm going to tell Cam. He's like, he got me. He went right after him. Don't do it, Trill. Don't do it, Trill. Don't tell him.
You got to clean up your life, man. Your side pieces are calling into the show. That's not a good look. I'm letting you know now.
I got a salt and pepper. What did he say? Your salt and pepper, your sauce.
You put salt and pepper on that sausage, boy. That's what that man said. Don't do that no more, bro.
You know what? Do not tell Cam about that, Trill. Trill isn't. It's like, I ain't never. You boy, Trill made me blush with that. It's like, don't tell him, please, please. Next call.
Okay, so
cheeks hurt from that shit.
Basically, Matt Rhule can't coach childbirth, let alone a team of grown men that make millions. I mean, mind you, he came from two basically trash college teams, Temple and Baylor. Okay, granted, he turned them around, but did they actually win any bowl games? I don't think so. So now he's tasked 7 years, mind you, to try to turn our Panthers around. And so far, he's failed. Year 1, 5-11. Year 2, 5-12. The first team to basically lose 7 straight games after starting 3-0. We had a chance when we hit 5-5, but then basically the wheels fell off, and just the way he treated Cam Newton is just disgraceful. You know, Cam deserved better, even though I don't want to say Cam is washed, but
I feel like he just gave Cam I'm gonna fuck you rule.
Cam just isn't. Cam hasn't been the same ever since that Steelers game with Watt basically ruined his shoulder. It's been all downhill from there. I mean, he still showed glimpses when he was able to take off and run with his legs, but throwing the ball for the most part, we shouldn't expect any more 300-yard games from Cam anymore.
All right, I got to pause it for here. First of all, thank you for the call. I'm going to play the rest of it. But what I mean by this, Cody, is that I feel like sometimes when we make a criticism about something, we have to go in and be like, but I don't do this. So it's like I'm not a racist, but it's not a this. My man said this is like, I'm not trying to discredit Cam, but he might be washed. You know, I mean, at the same time, like, I mean, it's almost like, hey, we have to. It's like if I walk into a place where everybody's Christian, I know the right things to say. I do tip of my hat, be like, Jesus best, Jesus best, Jesus best.
Yeah, but
Jesus
it's
best.
like,
But
dude, I'm
screw
tired
that
of.
that poor person over there. I'm not trying to diss on the color, but I do think it's like kind of easy to say. It's kind of easy to say, like, oh, Cam's the best. He's the greatest of all time. But, and then you throw someone else on the bus.
Yeah, but dude, I'm so tired about having this conversation about Cam Newton because the minute that I try and make
Why?
a point,
You want him to be our
no, but
quarterback
this is
next
the reason
year.
why I've had it a million fucking times, and every single time I go through, well, Cam's never had a good offensive line to play behind. Cam's never had legitimate receivers to throw to. Cam had to come into this season in the middle of the year without time to acclimate to anything we're
Mike
doing on
Shula would have
offense.
had great
And
receivers.
then,
Imagine if
and
Mike
then we're
Shula would
gonna
have had
fire
great
Joe
receivers.
Brady in the
Imagine
middle. Dude, I'm about to
Imagine
jump
if
through
Mike
this.
Shula would have had a great offensive line. Oh, wow.
Dude, you and Mike fucking Shula, that old has been. What an old has been.
You know who called
Dude,
in
you
and
know,
said they wanted me to salt and pepper their sausage? It was Mike Shula, I hope.
You know,
Mhm.
not like
oh,
it
you
was
hope it
when
was
he
Mike
first,
Shula?
you know, came into
No,
the
you
league
didn't
throwing
even
for
let
like
me finish
400
my
plus
point.
yards.
I'm
Pause
not
this
letting you
damn
finish.
call.
We're going
You
to
know.
finish this call.
But that was when we didn't have a running game back in 2011. But
So as I was saying, Cam Newton gets all this shit. Everyone says all this shit about him, and then I end up going and defend him, and then everyone says I'm a Cam Newton defender. Everybody says I'm a Cam Newton defender. Oh, Cody, you're just defending Cam at all costs. Hey, y'all, Tony doesn't even know I muted his microphone. He's sitting here talking the whole time, has no idea. Hey, man, I had to, bro. All right, hold up. I'll unmute you. Fine, say what you were going to say.
Yeah. Fuck you. I muted your mic back. I muted your mic back, homie. Take that. Now it's Mike Mute War. Mike Mute War. Say something back. Say it. Say.
Anyway, so back to the show as scheduled. Cam Newton is the best Panther player that the Panthers have ever had. And Cam Newton should come back for another year, but no one will give him the opportunity. And I don't give a
so basically, yeah, Matt Rhule can't coach childbirth, let alone a team of grown men that make millions. I mean, mind you, he came
We
from
already heard this
two
call, didn't we?
basically trash
Did we?
college teams.
Yeah.
Is that the one we
Temple
fought
and
over?
Baylor.
Next call.
Yo, Panther Nation, it's your boy Steph, man, out of
Steph
LA,
muting
man.
you
You know what I'm saying?
again.
Look, man, this team is very, very wild. You know, and I just need to let you guys know that this whole organization is in shambles. You know, we're trying
it's like the C3
to
Panthers
podcast.
podcast.
Get the top QB
Infighting.
to get Newton's name
I'll
out
unmute myself. Thank you
of
very much.
the
I
franchise, and it's
unmuted
just not
you for
happening.
yourself.
But you know, I have the plan. My plan is we have to get offensive linemen immediately in this draft. We have to, and then we need to get some linemen and some defensive linemen and some LBs for sure. We need that for sure. I mean, to be honest with you, I'll just go, all free agency for our defense, and then on offense, just go all,
God. Imagine how
draft
bad we'll be.
everything on offense again. Just like how we did last year. Last year we drafted, freaking all defense. This year we'll just draft all offense. Matt Rhule is very, very wild. Like seriously, he's letting go players, and I don't know how he's not fired. Only reason why he's not fired because of the defensive Phil Snow. If we can just literally let go of Matt Rhule and then bring in even the OC from the Chiefs. If we let go of Matt Rhule, I bet you Watson's coming at the door. But yeah, like I said, guys, keep pounding. You know what I'm saying, and hopefully we can get this draft going. You know what I'm saying, and we can start winning again.
Thank you so much for the call. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Cody, I wore Shaq Thompson's jersey tonight for a reason. Because we have heard everybody say it's the second ranked defense. I asked, who the hell these guys stop? I've asked it, but Lord, this defense, it cannot get worse next year. Like, I mean, yes, they can get worse. Like, you take away parts and then this all of a sudden they're going to be worse, but we need them to be even better. We need this defense. Like, if this defense regresses, it's going to be tough for us to make up. And I'm not saying that's impossible. Like, the offense could step up points and the defense could step down points. But here's the thing. Shaq Thompson becomes an important player to this team. He needs to mimic a kind of a back-end resurgence to his career that is somewhat of like a Thomas Davis. And I know Thomas Davis came off of injury, but I need Shaq Thompson now to go. And I'm not saying earn that paycheck because he already earned the paycheck. He already gets the paycheck. So, I mean, like, he'd come up here and I'll be earn my paycheck. What I need Shaq Thompson to do, or what the Carolina Panthers, not me, they need him to be better than he was this year. And he had his best season this year. Like, if Shaq Thompson is not good next year, that's a problem for the Carolina Panthers. Think about what you got to fill already on both sides of the ball. And that is counting that Shaq Thompson is very, very good. So I'm wearing biggest Shaq Thompson fan ever going into 2022.
How much is our defense going to be able to be the same without Hassan Reddick or Dante Jackson? Feeling like we might not have.
It's not. Our defense will not be the same. Period.
So then, I mean, then that number two defense.
It's got to be better. We need to be even better.
Yeah, but we have to be even better. But at the same time, man, if you're going to lose your biggest sack artist, say what you want, Dante Jackson was a big part of this football team this year. Yeah, we do have C.J. Henderson. Yeah, we have J.C. Horn. But I don't know, man. This is going to be tough. You don't just take the defense that you had last year and walk into next year with the number two defense.
They're not the same.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Right. You can have the best defense in the league and all of a sudden they're not. I agree 100 with that. We need, and I think it's hard. I'm like, when I say I don't think it's going to happen, but we need Shaq Thompson to have his second best year this past year, his best year next year.
Yeah,
like,
man.
That's what we need. We need it from a roster standpoint. You're already talking about replacing Jermaine Carter Jr. You're already talking about, can we potentially sign Hassan Reddick? And by the way, I don't look at Hassan Reddick as no linebacker. I know you guys said it. He's a stand-up defensive end. I'm sorry.
He's a pass rusher.
Yeah, that's what he is.
Yeah.
He's it's not like having Thomas Davis. It's like all right, how about this? Is that if we had Shaq Thompson at his best, right? And we said that we got Hassan Reddick at his best. That is nowhere close to Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly. But I just don't think Hassan Reddick is truly a linebacker. He's like barely a linebacker.
He's not an off-the-ball linebacker. Shaq Thompson's an off-the-ball linebacker. Luke Kuechly was an off-the-ball linebacker.
Every linebacker is an off-the-ball linebacker except for Hassan Reddick.
Well, no. I mean, no. A lot of outside linebackers are pass rushers now.
Then you should just call them defensive ends.
Yeah, but they're not really a defensive end because that's what I've been bitching about this season, that we don't set a physical edge. If you have a defensive end, they should be able to set a physical edge, and the Panthers don't do that very often. That's why you saw running backs bounce it to the outside.
They can only
all season.
put two linebackers out there at a time then, because the other one is their other defensive end. I don't know, man. I just feel like he's a tweener. He's a tweener between an end and a linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, he's
play him
definitely
into drop back a lot. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but we don't have enough. If we had Luke Kuechly at his prime, then maybe we could do it. But we don't have we don't have the guys at linebacker that are great enough to be in the system where one of the linebackers only does one thing.
I understand that, but we also just need better linebackers, period, in the middle of our defense.
That's why I need Shaq to be great. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but listen, it's going to take more than Shaq, too. We're going to need to get younger at that position. Jermaine Carter Jr. is not the answer at inside linebacker.
What if Shaq is not as good as he was this year? Shaq just had his best season.
Yeah, his one best season.
All right, if you want this team to get better, you actually need Shaq Thompson next year to have even a better season than he had this past year.
I mean, not necessarily.
And that's why I'm wearing his jersey. Like, I gotta hope. I don't think it's gonna happen.
You just need someone to complement him. You need someone for him to play next to. Jermaine Carter Jr. was serviceable this year, but he is not a full-time middle linebacker. And we have to upgrade that position at some point, either in the draft or in free agency.
So you're just going to get a regular dude besides Shaq Thompson? All of a sudden it's going to be even better? You just got a barely better regular Jermaine Carter?
I mean, Shaq Thompson's a regular dude.
That's what I'm saying is you need Shaq Thompson to be better than regular. Or else you're already imagine trying to upgrade all the linebacker positions at once, Cody. That's what we're close.
Yeah.
What if Shaq Thompson gets hurt, bro? Done.
Well, either that and Frankie Louvu.
Done. Like, you ain't got nothing. You're talking about, you got to talk about all of them. Yes, Louvu, this and that, but they're all just regulars. Shaq Thompson's a regular. He is. He's like just
So then if he's just regular, how is our next season so dependent upon him? To me, Shaq Thompson is who he is,
if
Tony.
He's fucked
we
up,
already know who
then
Shaq
all
Thompson
the other
is
regular
at this point.
guys become regular below average.
I mean,
you need him to start all season, just like this year.
Yeah, you need him to start all season.
That. Like, if he does not do that, but with the money
Tony,
and this and that, you're fucked, bro.
He's not. But Shaq Thompson is not going to put your defense over the edge. We already know.
Without Shaq Thompson, your defense is going to suck a big ass dick.
You're not listening to me. We already know who Shaq Thompson is as a player. If he's healthy and on the football field, you know what he's going to do. But even if he is that kind of player, you have to put other people around him, or else
you're not listening to me. Agreed. If he is hurt next year, we have too many holes to fill. That's what I'm saying. Like, Shaq Thompson has to be as good as he was this year or better for us to improve on defense.
I don't think it can be better.
But then he has to be as good as he was this year. Because if we have a downgrade Shaq Thompson from this year, our defense will get worse.
And by the way,
it's that simple.
Yeah. I'm not shitting on Shaq.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, bro.
No, I am. I'm just saying Shaq Thompson.
He's not irreplaceable, but the problem is he's worth like $30 million. Go look at how much we have to pay him. We can't cut him.
It's another terrible contract by Marty Herney.
I am wearing this man's jersey. This man's got to go ball out.
By the way, that's not his jersey anymore.
Oh, good.
Yo, Anthony is your boy.
You know what?
Hey guys, one last time, Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina Sports Guy. I just want to say something because I know a lot of fans and some have tuned out, but a lot of us. This first year, I'm not even really looking forward to the draft.
I know,
and I know it's
you
important.
Only get one pick. Actually, you should look forward to it. You only got to hang out with us for one night.
I mean, we're getting beat up here, but I do want to take us back, and I think if you're a real fan, you've got to look at the light at the end of the tunnel. Jerome Belcher. Anybody remember who he was? I think he was a linebacker, but he played for the Kansas City Chiefs, barely started. The guy committed suicide a few days before playing the Panthers. At the time, the Chiefs were like 1-12. I think Rick Meyer was their quarterback. They had beat the Saints early in the season in New Orleans. They beat us, Luke Kuechly's rookie year, Cam's second year. Game we should have won because the team rallied and played for a guy that killed himself in the parking lot after, I believe, killing his girlfriend. But we shouldn't have lost the game. Now, I'll say that because Kansas City back then in 2011 game we should have won because the team rallied and played for a guy that killed himself in the parking lot after, I believe, killing his girlfriend.
A little bit more.
Or like 1-12. I think Rick Meyer was their quarterback. They had beat the Saints early in the season in New Orleans. They beat us, Luke Kuechly's rookie year, Cam's second year. Game we should have won because the team rallied and played for a guy that killed himself in the parking lot after, I believe, killing his girlfriend. But we shouldn't have lost the game. Now, I say that because Kansas City back then in 2011 or whatever it was, 2012, were the worst team in football. They finished 2-14. They drafted an offensive lineman. Can't remember the guy's name. I think he was from Central Michigan, but that's for a lot of years. But anyway, my whole point is it was Eric Fisher. That team was 2-14. How did they end up getting better? Well, they just started drafting here and there, and they got Andy Reid, and they got lucky with Mahomes that some teams didn't pick him up because of the Bears wanted Mitch Trubisky and so on and so forth. We just have to get lucky, guys, and the right people have to come out, and we just have to make some sensible picks. It's not a home run. We just have to hit singles, get on base, keep moving players around the base, score some runs. We just have to hang in there. And it might not take it 10 years. It might only take 3, 4, 5 years, and we can have a steady playoff team. It's not going to happen overnight.
I know, man. We
but
felt
we've
like
got
the
to
3,
get it
4,
out of our
5
mindset
years was
that it's
2 years ago.
not possible that within 7 or 8 years that we're not a multiple year playoff team, because it can happen.
Look, I want to have the glass half full optimism. I swear. I do. I just wish that timeline was pushed back a couple of years because I thought that is what we needed to do when Rhule came in. You know, like why the whole point is we were sold that Matt Rhule was a builder of programs. That he was the Jesus of carpenters, so to speak, of college programs. God, I should not say that. But this guy turned out to be Bob the Builder. Yeah. Bob the Builder, man. He's not a... And so I think that cup floweth over. That it's almost like what was the third Indiana Jones? That's all I can think of is like where they had that little, they're trying to drink the golden cup. It's like that idea that one day we're going to be drinking from the cup of life.
You made the point is that
So
we thought, it's only going to be 3 or 4 more years for a couple of years now. And again, maybe that's our delusion. And I understand what Chuck is trying to say. A lot of these teams, I mean, dude, think how long the Buffalo Bills have been just a dumpster fire.
Look, the Bengals, 30 years.
Yeah,
since they had a playoff win.
You have to just hope and pray going forward that we don't fall into that kind of a rut. Because I think over the past few years, especially in the waning years of Cam, we kind of grew accustomed to, okay, we know who our quarterback is, we know who our best players on defense are. Like we grew comfortable. But as Panther fans, now we're learning the hard way is that this could all continue to get worse and worse and worse. And there is no guarantee that we're not going to be able to get out in front of ourselves, that we're not going tank our own chances
it could be
before we
worse
even get
than
started.
this.
Dude,
Like,
the
it could
Lions,
really
the
be
Jaguars,
worse
the
than-
Bengals, the Bills, the
30
Browns.
years,
dude.
no playoff wins. Imagine doing this podcast till we're 60, whatever years old. I will be 7. Imagine if we don't get a playoff win. I will be almost 70 years old.
But that's only a few years away for you, right? Because they're old as fuck.
Hey guys, Joey again for a third time.
All right.
So I was thinking about the other day as that Matt Rhule comment in that press conference where we were all clowning his ass for it for that Jay-Z comment. Because of course it was a clown. I mean, Jay-Z is a great rapper. Matt Rhule is a shitty coach. You know, like there should be no comparison. But here's the thing. Think about what Matt Rhule actually said about Jay-Z. He said it took 7 years for Jay-Z to get where he is. The reason why he said that is because, think about it, how many years is Matt Rhule's contract for? 7 years. So Matt Rhule is thinking is that, oh, I'm going to be great in 7 years. It's just like Jay-Z, give me time.
Yeah, I'm
going
gonna
to
give
be
you
great.
a rah then.
It has something to do with his contract. He thinks he's got plenty of time. Anyway, guys. Wow.
Jay's my man's waiting 7 years to prove himself. God, man, why can't you just do it right now? 7 years? Who the hell wait 7 years? I mean, I feel like Jews don't even wait 7 years. 7 years of plenty, 7 years of promise. That man, they had to go. Who was it? Joseph had to go and be like, please put away and store it. Waiting 7 years for this? No one's waiting 7 years.
No, and especially not for Matt Rhule.
No, exactly. I mean, God, it was like is it kind of like your grandma when she's like, "Oh, son, what are you listening to these days?" And my grandma come out and be like, Public Enemy? 911 is joking your town? I'd be like, hell yeah, grandma, because you dope as fuck. And Matt Rhule's a bitch. Next call.
Tony, don't play silly like Matt Rhule. You know what salt and pepper means, baby.
Who is it?
Remember you salt and pepper my Philly Brown? Bye, baby.
It sounds like, oh my gosh. It kind of sounds like, is it from American Dad where they do that? Like one of the voices?
Oh,
I'm trying to figure out who it is.
Chester the molester, the old guy. Oh, hey, son, bitch. Yeah. Hey, but dude, you need to get control of that gimp you have locked in your basement because he's calling into the show too much.
He's got a phone. He is a free human being.
Yeah, but okay, it's still not appropriate for the show, so get a hold of that crap.
Not appropriate for Noah. All right,
this whole show is not appropriate for Noah, and yet Noah still listens all the time. Shout out Noah, man.
Well, you know what is also PG-17 or NC-17? That's the Carolina Panthers.
Dude, the Panthers we're a family-friendly football team.
No, we're not, man. It's just
we are because we're unoffensive. We're not tough. We're not hurting people. We're not aggressive. We're the team that gets participation trophies.
Matt Rhule is a cuck. I do believe that. Matt Rhule says alpha more than anybody I've ever said. It is weird.
He's definitely
like he's like very interested in that. Like if you're like, yo, what's up, Matt Rhule? Love you. You'd be like, oh my God, I'm gonna drop you.
Oh boy.
How
many calls we got left, man?
That's it.
Let's do our ice up picks. Get the hell out of here, I say.
Now
You
I'm
got
gonna
one
keep
ready?
it up all night.
Oh, I know.
No,
we'll
you
do
don't
it
got
too,
an
man.
ice up pick?
Yeah, I got a nice up pick. Did you?
Come on, hit me up. Hit me up.
You know I call them prepared. All right, so let me pull it up. You know me, I love shenanigans. And when things go wrong. Oh, did I not save it? Of course. Well, you go first. I gotta find my shit. You go first. I gotta find my shit. It'll take me a second.
Man, I had a tough day. I had a lot of people messing with me today. Let's see. What do I got? Ice up. I don't have one yet. I was gonna give you. I needed a second to think of one while you were doing yours. I mean,
But I have ice mine.
Up. I wrote one down too somewhere. This is really anticlimactic.
Well, I had this shit just a second ago.
Anti-chlamydiatic. What happened to me today? Ice up. I had some good ones too. Oh yeah. Here we go. Here's my ice up pick. So one of the reasons like I'm kind of been off kilter, kind of like shook on this podcast because I had to run up in here like 8 minutes before this joint started. All right, so my aunt, I came back from a funeral today. Thank you for the condolences. You don't have to give them to me, but my aunt, wonderful person. Go to this family event, come back, and I see some people I ain't seen in a while, so that was kind of nice. So we go, get back into town, and Tuesday's a busy night for my family. So I got the podcast, been doing it for 9 years. My girls have like these 4 dance classes, so we're kind of running all around. So my wife's like, get these. I'll go get the girls from dance. You go get these 8 things from the grocery store for dinner. And you saw me eat my dinner, right? And I always eat late, but I don't never usually eat on the podcast or something like this. But so I go to the grocery store and there's no chicken, bro. No chicken. Like nothing. Like the whole meat, I was like, been ravaged. I'm like, God, like what? And I thought so then I go over there. I'm supposed to get like some sour cream and some cheese. And I go over the next thing is like ravaged. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And so me and this girl were at the door, and she was like, we were rapping, we were having fun, we were laughing. I was like, what the hell's going on? She was like, I don't know. I got to watch the news more because I don't know I was like, yeah, I'm the same way. Like, what is this event happening? So go check out, get my 4 things out of 27 I'm going to get. They're like, oh, it's the snow coming. This. I'm like, all right, we didn't get a drop of snow the last time. So then I go to the next store, no chicken, no meat, no nothing. Third store. I mean, I'm like, at this point, I'm panic buying. I'm like, oh, what do you got? You got some Italian stuff? Woo, I'm going to buy this shit. Man, what the hell? Finally, some damn Eastern North Carolinians get some sense, and they don't buy all the milk. There was plenty of milk there. But what the hell are you doing buying 27 weeks of chicken, yo? 27 weeks of chicken. 27 weeks of beef. There won't nothing, man. It looked like a wasteland. It looked like we were about to hit Armageddon next week. And we are going to get what? A couple inches of snow? Get the fuck out of here. Get some canned food. Buy some tuna bitches. Buy some peanut butter and jelly. Buy the bread. Why the hell couldn't you buy all the bread? I went to the liquor store right after. I was like, I better get an extra bit of liquor in case these dumbass motherfuckers are right. So to you, panic ass mofos, ice up.
Choppy71 said you're out of salt and pepper.
I ain't out of salt and pepper. Look right here, homie. I look like a vampire.
So my ice up pick for tonight goes to the emergency alert people in Missouri, because people are just having a normal day, whatever, and they get an alert on their phone. It's an emergency alert for a stolen vehicle in Gotham City, Missouri. And this went out everywhere, and everyone's like, holy shit, there's a Gotham City, Missouri. Why am I just now learning about that? Only to realize that this was just a test alert that was never meant to go out to anyone. It was just like a test alert for the people in the office to test their systems.
People in DC Comics.
Yeah, man. It was just, dude, like my thing is I'm not really icing up anyone. Like, to me, you should just do this more often. Just if you use the emergency alert system to just photobomb people with random shit and like things that they wouldn't expect during the day. Then, when you look at your phone, you hear those alerts. Normally, you just get rid of them no matter what. Maybe now you might actually check to see what they're saying if you know that it might be something funny. But yeah, I don't know, man. To the people who are mistakenly sending out text messages to the people in Missouri, making them believe that the Cape Crusader and his home city is in your state, that's messed up. Ice up, son.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, where every Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, excuse me. What the hell? Every Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we talk about the Carolina Panthers ad nauseum with your calls. The number is 252-228-5098. And do it with my wheel, man. My co-host, one of my best friends, Cody Lashney. Tomorrow night, we better get up here and debate some shit. Because if not, these people, we're going to debate why is there no chicken in the freezer? They're going to be like, oh, supply chain. I'm going to be like, snow panic.
Yeah, man. Listen, you can find me on Twitter at CodyLac, CodyLac. You can find all my written work for drafttech.com, where I am the Panthers analyst over at Draft Tech, writing mock drafts. And yeah, man, it's been fun. We're gonna have a we'll do something fun maybe tomorrow. And I know I keep saying it, but we're definitely doing it. I'm gonna try and put out a film room this week, maybe do a live film room session. So message me some of the players on Twitter that you want me to see, that you
Evan
want me
Neal,
to preview
start
first.
with the big boy. Come on, give them what they want. Give them what they want.
Well, see, the name I've been hearing the most is Linderbaum. And Linderbaum is a very popular name as well. So, but yeah, we're going to be doing that a lot more soon. And then the Friday free for all at some point. We're going to be doing a lot more draft stuff every Friday at 7 on the Friday free for all. That's your show. Anyone can join that show. If you're in the chat and you want to come in, hang out.
Even the freaks. The freaks join every week.
Even the freaks. But no, they don't stay long. But it is true. You never know what you might see on the Friday free for all. But no, we have a damn good time, man. Everyone come hang out.
Hey, they come quick.
Dude, you're a juvenile. You're a delinquent.
Green man in green body paint in there. Bomb the shit. Ridiculous.
Showing all kinds of dumb
Father
shit.
Jackson, we coming for you, mother.
It builds character. We'll be all right.
All right. The number's 252-228-5098. It's the C3 Panthers podcast. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Check out our work at carolinacatchronicles.com. Come on the show, man. Give us some opportunity. Give us some insight into what you want this content to do in this off season. We trying to put it out. We did a video on the free agents for the Panthers that are coming out. We're going to start looking at who are some targets for the Carolina Panthers. But come on, jump in the comments. Tell us what you want to talk about. Call in at 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. Give us some good feedback. Tell a friend that you hate this show, but you're a Panthers fan, and you should listen to it and hate it as well. Cody Lashley, take us out of here, please. Let me go to bed.
Until next time, Panther Nation, keep pounding.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.